Chapter 251, Adventurers Guild Underground. God knows, that's probably the case. After repeating the experience just now, Lumen, who returned to the underground again, asked a little nervously. Even the Hephaestus clan has not been able to create a storage device, so theoretically this equipment cannot be made. I look at Lin Kuei-shun's attitude just now, and it seems that he doesn't care about this kind of space storage equipment. I always feel like there's something wrong with it. You say, shouldn't he have used divine power in private? The words of divine power are impossible. Aranos shook his head. The gods who came to the nether realm are basically registered, and the divine power that can be used is limited. Once I exceed a certain limit, even I will be detected by the system of the celestial realm. Since 447 Lin Kuei was able to move freely in the nether, it meant that he did not violate the law. It's good if there are no violations. Lukeman breathed a sigh of relief. Space storage equipment is a trivial matter, mainly the 10,000 tons of gold inside. If Lin Kuei used any illegal operations, then these gold would not be able to be taken. But now that you have the seriousness of the great god Aranos, then there is no problem. After collecting the gold in the guild's warehouse, he can use his authority to take out a little and stuff it into his small vault. God Aranos, that's all I need to report. Temporarily suppressing the various violations in his mind, Lukeman continued to speak. Since Lin Kuei-shun didn't violate the law, then I need to do propaganda immediately next, so I won't bother you here. Lowerman, I have a good news for that gold. Just as Lukeman was about to leave, Aranos' voice suddenly sounded. I don't care how you use it, but remember to leave Isai in the trading room. Lumen, Isai, why don't you grab it? Lumen's expression suddenly became heartache. The things that Aranos wants are basically not recorded in open transactions. In other words, the money needs to be embezzled by him through power. Without Aranos' words, all the embezzled money could be stuffed into his small treasury. But now, it's different. Thinking about the limit of what he could take, Lumen's expression became more and more painful. His money. At the same time that Liu Aiman went underground to the guild and communicate with Aranos, Lin Kuei also took Lucy and the others out of the headquarters of the Adventurers Guild and began to walk on the street. Lin Kuei-shun, may I ask where is the residence of our dependents? Walking beside Lin Kuei, Egina asked curiously. Am I moving to the family station next? Or is it the same as when I was in the guild? I usually go home after work. Station? That kind of thing doesn't exist yet. Lin Kuei replied casually, if you don't mind, can I go to your house for a night? Huh? Egina was a little embarrassed. My house has limited space. If you want to live in, you may. Not quite. Then forget it. Lin Kuei didn't care, and changed the topic with a smile. Egina, what do you think we should do next? How? We have limited time at our disposal, removing only 29 days today. Read violent novels. Go on Fellow Fiction Network. Although she had just been bought, Egina, who was more conscientious, entered the state very quickly. In order to maximize the benefits, it is guaranteed that the Lin Kuei family can still have a place after losing their status as a state-type dependent. In these 29 days, we must attack Orly's territory to the maximum extent and collect more talents. In order to find a suitable target, I want to ask first, who are the current members of the clan? Here, Lucy, who was holding the snacks from the street stall she had just bought and constantly tasting the food of another world, raised her hand. I, Commander Lucy, I naturally know. Egina nodded slightly. What about the others? You too. As if understanding what she was thinking, Lucy pointed to Egina and Michael and continued to reply. All the members of our clan are not counting Lin Kuei. There are 3 people in total, and they are all here at present. Huh? Wouldn't we be in a bad situation? Miska, who was also holding a bag of snacks, raised her head and showed a little surprise on her face. Since it is a state-type dependent, in order to develop rapidly, it is necessary to launch an attack on the small dependents in the early stage. Neither Egina nor I have any combat power. So isn't the only combat member Captain Lucy alone? No, don't count me at this time. Lucy quickly shook her head. The only star spirit magic I can use to fight has been sealed. If you really want to fight, my strength may not be as strong as the 2 of you, and I can't even beat a goose. Micah, Egina, the guild duo, who were still a little optimistic, suddenly stiffened their faces. So, the current situation is there not a single one in our clan that can fight? Really fake? Wouldn't that be over, huh? There is no need to be so pessimistic. Lin Kuei smiled and comforted. With me, the combat effectiveness of the 3 of you is still guaranteed. That's true. Lucy on the side echoed. Anyway, Egina, you can put it down. If Lin Kuei is there, it is not a problem to conquer the world within a month. Egina's expression became a little helpless. After all this situation, is it still aiming to conquer the world? Well, I know you don't believe it, but just watch it. 0.2 Lin Kuei stopped and looked at the tavern that appeared in front of him. Next, let's recruit the 4th member of our clan first. Rich hostess? Looking at the name on the tavern, Egina's eyes twitched, and an ominous premonition rose in her heart. Lin Kuei-shun, the 4th member in your mouth, shouldn't it be from this move? Yes. Her situation is more special, and she is currently working here. After that, Lin Kuei did not wait for Egina's reaction. and directly pushed open the door of their tavern and walked in. "Good morning, everyone, have you eaten?" Ryo, who was cleaning not far away. "Where did the weird guy come from?" Chapter 252. Lin Kei's arrival naturally attracted more than just the attention of Liu. Along with his appearance, the girls who were sorting out the ingredients or cleaning in their tavern cast their eyes one after another. "Who are you, Meow?" Not far from Ryo, a girl also wearing a tavern uniform and a pair of cat ears on her head looked over. "Why do you say strange things as soon as you come in? It's already the afternoon, is approaching the time of late. Meow. Is that so? Then I seem to have said something wrong." Lin Kei waved his hand again. "Good afternoon, everyone, have you eaten?" "Thank you for your concern. We've already eaten." Reaching out to interrupt Anya, who was still about to continue speaking, Ryo took the initiative to stand up at this time. "Whether it's breakfast or lunch, we've already eaten it. Do you have any other questions?" Yes, yes, lovely clerk lady. Lin Kei smiled and his gaze fell on the girl in front of him. "I'm here to find Leon Blast. Do you know where she is?" "Wind Leon? If you're talking about the wanted man 5 years ago, she's already dead," Liu replied lightly. "In order to avenge the companions of the dependent one, she has been burned out by the flame of revenge. After exhausting all means, if you came to find her, then please come back. You can't see her anymore." "Already burned out? That's a shame." Lin Kei chuckled. Obviously they have achieved that point, but they have spared the most important enemy. "Lovely clerk lady, do you say that if the famous Wind Leon hears about this, he will come back from the dead? What does it mean to let go of the most important enemy, huh? Don't you know Miss Clark?" Lin Kei's eyes widened in surprise. "One of the murderers who caused the extinction of Asteria's clan 5 years ago, Sulohama, is still alive." The broom that Ryo originally held in his hand broke in two without warning. Her pupils contracted into pins and began to shake violently. "Hey, what are you guys suddenly talking about?" Noticing that Ryo's reaction was wrong, Anya, who was still watching from the sidelines, stood up and interrupted. "Don't spread rumors. What evidence do you have to prove that that guy named Leo is not dead?" "Evidence, don't I?" Lin Kei replied without care. "I saw with my own eyes how the other party was bouncing alive in the dungeon. If you don't believe me, I can take you to find you at any time." "Enough," Ryo suddenly interrupted. "Don't say any more." "Huh? Miss Clark, why is your face suddenly so ugly? Is it uncomfortable?" The smile on Lin Kei's face gradually became stronger. "If you are not feeling well, it is better to take a leave of absence to rest. If you work hard, not only can you not achieve the expected effect, but it is also easy to make a mess and disturb the surrounding workers. Be careful." "You nasty fellow." "Shut up, Meow." Seeing that Ryo's face became more and more gloomy, a look of hostility appeared on Anya's face. "At the end of the day, who the hell are you guy who suddenly appeared out of nowhere?" "Me?" Lin Kei pointed to himself and replied with a smile. "Despising people are not talented. They are the gods of Lin Kei's clan." "Gods? No wonder it looks so annoying." "Meow," Anya said dissatisfiedly. "Put the words here first. If you talk nonsense again, even if you are a god and Anya, I'll be fine." Reaching out to stop Anya on the side, and shook her head slightly towards the other clerks who leaned over, Ryo's eyes looked at Lin Kei again. "Lin Kei's family. I haven't heard of this dependent. Are you a god who has only recently come to Ulari?" "Good reaction speed." Lin Kei smiled and replied, "I arrived this morning." "Arrived this morning?" Ryo, who was still gloomy, was suddenly stunned. "Then you said you saw Sulo outside Ulari?" "No, it's in Ulin." Lin Kei raised his foot and stepped on the ground. "It is more accurate to say that I saw him in the dungeon." "Sounds like gibberish." Not far away, a girl with blue-gray hair walked over, her eyes constantly looking at Lin Kei. "Gods can't go down to dungeons at will. Even Ulari's children know this kind of thing." "Say this kind of thing uprightly. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the guild? Or is it all fake? You are deceiving people." "The guild's punishment? That kind of thing doesn't exist." "Why?" Xia narrowed her eyes. "You don't want to say that you have the privilege to be exempt from punishment. Read violent novels, go on fellow fiction network. Coincidentally, I really have." "You're lying again, Lord God." Xia deliberately emphasized the pronunciation of the word God. "Even the gods of the Loki clan and Freya clan who stand at the apex of Ulari do not have this privilege in this city. How could you, a god who has just arrived in Uli, have such privileges?" "This kind of thing is still quite troublesome to explain." Lin Kei shrugged. "Anyway, the guild side will soon issue an announcement, and you will know by then." Sounds confident. Xia frowned slightly, and for a while she really couldn't understand what Lin Kei's situation was. Is it really not deceiving people? But even if you have the privilege of not being punished, I still can't understand why you ran to the dungeon. For the gods, there is nothing there except trouble. You can't think about it, so you want to go to the dungeon to wander around. That's the secret. Lin Kei did not continue to chat with this beautiful god, and his eyes moved to the silent Liu on the side. "How's it going, lovely clerk lady? Do you still think that my words are lying to people? Since you recognize me, there is no need to use that annoying title." Ryo had temporarily calmed down at the moment. I am indeed the Win Leon you are looking for. Is it annoying? I think I call you quite appropriately. I don't want to talk too much about this kind of topic. Liu looked at Lin Kei in front of him. Why you enjoy guild privileges, and the reason why you went to the dungeon as soon as you arrived in Oli, I am not interested in understanding. I just want to ask two things. Is it true that Luo is not dead? You specifically told me what the purpose of this is. Of course Luo is still alive, I can assure you of this. As for the purpose of my telling you about this, it is equally simple. Lin Kei raised his hand and patted Liu's shoulder. I fancy you. Do you want to come and mess with me? Chapter 253. Fancy her? Hearing Lin Kei's reply, Liu frowned slightly. With her past experience in dealing with various groups of people, she immediately understood what Lin Kei meant. You mean, do you want me to join your family? That's right. Lin Kei signaled to follow him in, then ran directly to the corner and sat down, wanting to put a certain distance from him to prevent the three Lucy from being beaten. As you can see, my family has just been founded today, and it is still developing and lacks people. If you're willing to join, sorry, Lin Question. As soon as Lin Kei was halfway through his words, Ryu suddenly interrupted. I thank you for coming over specifically to tell me that Xuan Luo is not dead yet. But as I said before, Win Leon was consumed by the flames of vengeance 5 years ago. Standing in front of you now, I am just an ordinary tavern clerk except for wanting to kill Luo to fulfill his last wish. Join the clan or something. I'm afraid it's hard for me to say yes. Well, I can understand your thoughts. For Liu's refusal, Lin Kei had long expected it and did not care about it. After all, we are meeting for the first time today. Unless I'm like those beautiful gods, brainwashing you with seduction, or you'll agree. Well, let's make an agreement. Engagement? That's right, it's an agreement. Lin Kei smiled and nodded. The answer does not need to be answered immediately. Wait until you come to me tonight or tomorrow, and I'll take you to Seoul Luo, and then make another deal with you. At that time, if you still refuse, I will not force you to join the family, but change the conditions to owe me a favor. How? I'm not very talkative. In addition to the bad personality, it is really approachable. Ryu sighed. Then the time is set for tonight. I will go to you after work. If everything you say is true, then I do owe you a favor. In fact, let alone a human favor. As long as it is determined that Luo is not dead, then even if he owes 10 favors, he will choose to accept it. Good, then it's booked. Lin Kei took out a red blood bead and threw it into Liu's hand. If you want to find me, inject spiritual power into it. It will lead you to where I am. Ryu, are you really looking for him? Watching Lin Kei and the others leave, Anya had a faint look of worry on her face. Although Miao is a stupid person, I always feel that the other party has bad intentions. It's kind of strange. Koroi, who was also a Catman girl on the side, frowned slightly, and her face showed a thoughtful look. Suddenly jumping out and saying that Ryu's enemy is not dead, it always feels like there is some kind of conspiracy. Ryu, don't get carried away by revenge. Wait for me to make preparations in the evening. Go with you. It's safer to have someone acting together. No need. It's my business, so I won't involve you. Looking in the direction Lin Kei left, Liu replied after a moment of silence. And didn't Lin Question also say that he just created a family clan and needs talents? Although I don't know where he learned that I was here, this should not be a lie. It's really not a lie. After Lin Kei and the others left, Xia, who had also gone out for a short while, walked back with a strange look on her face. I asked the guild members who were passing by, and got interesting news from him. Dozens of minutes ago, Lin Question, who had just arrived in Ulari, made a deal with the guild. What deal? Miao? He invested 10,000 tons of gold in exchange for the status of a national family in Ulari for a month. Really fake? But Roy's eyes widened, and the cat ears on the top of his head stood up. That god who looks so bad, is he so rich? Yes. The rich are amazing. Xia also had some emotion. Even the Freya family she controls may be to this extent after the total assets are sold. Took out 10,000 tons of gold, just so that a new family that had just been created could have a different identity. To be honest, even she, who is also a god, can't understand Lin Kei's brain circuits. Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. But then I can understand why he came to Ryu at this point in time. Xia looked at the blonde girl who was still a little stunned. Since it is a state-type dependent, it means that the Lin Kei clan can start a war without treason in this month, and take all the wealth of other dependents at will. But the Lin Kei clan has just been established, and even if it has such privileges, it is difficult to maximize the benefits without sufficient strength support. A look flashed in Liu's eyes. That's why he came here specifically to find me, hoping that I can join his family. That's pretty much it. Xia nodded. It cost 10,000 tons of gold. Even if the final result is not satisfactory, it is necessary to fight at least a few more small dependents to improve the territory and talent reserve. Simply put, it's about spending money to save time. By plundering, the original accumulation that should have taken the most time is directly shipped. As long as he can successfully rank among the high level of Oli, then this 10,000 tons of gold, Lin Kuo will definitely not lose. More importantly, from the result point of view, The guild side obtained 10,000 tons of gold, and Lin Kei saved a lot of time, which was a win-win. As for the small families who were plundered, to be honest, as long as there were no large number of casualties, no one would care too much. I'm not mistaken, Lin Kuei will go to the dungeon specifically. Probably to confirm that Luo is not dead. As long as you have this killer move, no matter what the outcome is, Ryu will eventually owe him a favor. Xia analyzed. Even if Liu did not join his dependents in the end, this favor will also be used to attack small and medium-sized dependents. By plundering, obtain the first batch of backbone combat power, and then target small and medium-sized dependents, even without Liu's help afterwards. The development of Lin Kei's family will definitely not be slow. At most it will not be able to meet expectations. Please continuously accumulate combat power by snowballing, and finally develop the scale of their family within a month. This is something that can only be done in a special area like Orally, where there are a large number of small and medium-sized dependents. I have to say that Lin Kuei has played a big chess game in the development of their dependents. Xia, if I help him, will there be a lot of casualties? Nope. As if seeing Ryu's thoughts, Xia replied decisively. Whether it is for the development of the early stage, or for the later stage to be able to live a better life in Oli, the other party will definitely not care. Ryu, you boldly accept the other party's proposal, and then let it go. Don't let yourself regret. I see. Recognized by his friends, Ryu completely strengthened his resolve and turned around and walked in the direction of the back kitchen. You geese continued to prepare for the evening business. I'll go talk to Mia's mother first. Chapter 254. Loki Dependence. A month's national dependence. Looking at the information just sent in his hand, Loki couldn't help but show a smile on his face. Look, Finn. I said that as long as I choose 2 months, he will definitely do something unexpected. Finn, who was standing on the side, smiled wryly. This is indeed unexpected. Create a national-type family and conquer the world's major forces in a short time with a powerful space gate. After Lin Kei left, he did envision this possibility. But at first, he really didn't expect that the other party would take root and settle down in Oli. Throwing money at the ability to buy a temporary identity with banknote ability is also too unreasonable to play cards. I'm afraid that the guild side has been deceived by Lin Kei, and I thought he just wanted to save time and quickly complete the initial accumulation. That's naturally deceived. Loki couldn't help but laugh out loud. If it were you, would you think that a guy who suddenly appeared could conquer the world in a month? That designation doesn't think about that aspect. Finn didn't even have to think about it to come to a conclusion. If you receive this message without knowing anything, as one of Ulari's 2 great dependents, Finn can only do one thing. That is, let Lin Kei's family 717 family develop normally in the early stage, and wait for the other party to grow to a certain specification before making a move, and control the overall scale of Lin Kei's family. I hope that there are more cautious people, and I won't think about it. Finn shook his head, put down the information in his hand and walked towards the door not far away. The supplies should be almost ready. Ace and I will go back to the dungeon first. Loki, you help pay attention. Remember not to let the people below and Lin Kei's side conflict. Loki pursed the corners of his mouth. Did you take me for a fool? Unless she was crazy, how could she let her family and Lin Kei conflict? She was waiting to see what Lin Kei would do next. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, it was nightfall. Under the full operation of the Adventurers Guild, things about Lin Kei's clan quickly spread. Not only did it spread throughout Ulari in a short period of time, but even some small cities near Ulari had heard about it. Perhaps because of the prestige of the Adventurers Guild, the residents of Ularan did not panic. In their opinion, this is a special war game in which the location is placed within Ulari. The rules, comparison, ACFD, as long as it doesn't affect them in the end. These residents are basically the same as Loki, looking forward to what Lin Kei will do tomorrow. At the same time, Lin Kei, who was expected by everyone, took Lucy directly to the southern district of Olari after saying goodbye to his 2 little secretaries. This one looks good. Looking at the huge hotel in front of it that was luxuriously decorated and flashed with various lights even in the dark night, Lin Kei showed satisfaction. Let's live here before we build our first territory tomorrow. It's not good at all. Hey, Lucy hugged her chest with both hands and looked at Lin Kei with a vigilant expression. This is all a love hotel. You brought me here in the evening. It must not be some bad intentions. Lucy, I think the most important thing for people is self-knowledge. Lin Kei shook his head slightly, and replied in a serious voice, if I really want to attack you, can you still run away? Hey, you're in the middle of doing anything to me. Lucy couldn't help but complain. After all, I came here just to be a guest for a few days. Why is it that you are suddenly forced to become a part of your bet, and follow you to such a dangerous place? Huh? Could it be that you don't want to brush points? Lin Kei raised his eyebrows. I brought you with kindness. The leader of the Lin Kei clan who rules the world. Lucy, how many points do you think you can get after I succeed? This. Lucy said for a while, it should be full, right? That's right. brushing up is not a problem. Lin K nodded slightly. I talked to Ace before, and a little world reputation in her world is equal to 900 points. After all the brushes, I can get 900 W points. If you are not willing to cooperate, I can go to the group and call someone again. I think Asuna and them. Who said I wasn't willing to cooperate? Lucy suddenly ran behind Lin K and reached out to squeeze his shoulder, with a flattering smile on her face. Lin K, if you think about it, there are not many people as obedient and cooperative as me. If you change to Asuna, the girl who is addicted to the internet, maybe you will want to go back to playing games after staying for 2 days. Instead of finding unreliable people to help, let me be the leader of the Lin K clan and help conquer the world. Not bad, not bad. Children can be taught. Lin K nodded with satisfaction. Then as the leader of Lin K's family, Lucy, where do you think we should live tonight? Of course, this hotel is of high quality at first glance. Lucy pushed Lin K in, and then immediately stepped out of her white thighs and trotted to their front desk. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network. Open me 2 rooms. The best kind. 2? He glanced at Lucy suspiciously, and then looked at Lin K, who walked slowly not far away, and casually took out the gold bars. The beast-eared lady's eyes lit up, and she replied decisively, sorry, this guest, there is only one luxury suite left. But rest assured, our deluxe suites have multiple rooms, so sleeping 2 people is not a problem. Is it a matter of how many rooms there are? The point is in one room. Lucy, who had wanted to avoid this from happening, was ready to choose a second-level room. But at this moment, a money bag suddenly flew past her ear and landed on the counter. Boom tilde. Since there is only one luxury suite, let's barely make do with it. We need to stay for a day. The money should be enough, right? Opening the money bag and taking a look, the smile on the beast-seer girl's face instantly became amiable. Of course enough. That's a lot more than that. I'll give you that extra as a tip. Lin K sighed lazily and motioned towards her. I'm a little tired. Lead the way in front. Okay, no problem. Coming out from behind the counter, the beast-eared lady held Lucy with one hand and walked directly upstairs. 2 guests, please come with me. Lucy, that's what you asked? Lucy tried to break free twice, and found that the strength of the weak chicken could not be opened at all. She looked at the beast-eared lady who did not look back in front of her, and then looked at Lin K who was smiling at her on the side. Lucy had a tearless expression on her face. Even if you anticipate that it may overturn, this roll-over speed is too fast. Chapter 255. What kind of person is Lin K? If someone asked Lucy this question, the first answer that came to her mind was to be rich, and the second answer would be lustful. This is not Lucy's prejudice, but the conclusion she finally came to after summarizing their conversations in the chat on weekdays and what she saw and heard after personal contact. Lin K is a rich old man who never hides his desires. Because of this, Lucy is well aware that there will be certain risks after she chooses to stay. But she really didn't expect this risk to come so quickly. Lin K, how to allocate the room. Watching the beast-eared waiter leave, Lucy, who was invited to the luxurious suite, swallowed her saliva and asked a little nervously. The one you live in? I still want this house outside tilde. You choose that. Did I choose the room inside? Okay, the house is warm. I like it. Well, I suddenly think this one out there is better. It's okay, the scenery outside is good. I like it too. Lucy, feed. You're hiding it. The expression on Lucy's face grew more sad. Lin K is iron-hearted, and he wants to share a room with himself. Of course, Lucy is not without a way back. As long as she opens the chat group and returns to the original world, she can leave here at any time. But in this case, Lucy was a little unwilling. That's 900 W points. If she gets it, she will directly become rich in a wave. What's wrong with you? Just when Lucy was struggling in her heart and didn't know what to do next, a palm suddenly waved in front of her. The room is chosen. Why don't you go in yet? Huh? Why did I go in? Lucy was stunned. Doesn't you live outside? What are you thinking? I'm asking you to choose a room for me, not for yourself. Lin K's face showed a teasing look. Still, Lucy, you covet my beauty and want to live outside with me. How is that possible? Lucy also reacted at this moment, and a flush rose on her cheeks. I just misheard. Oh? Is this really the case? When? Of course, facing Lin K's eyes that seemed to see through everything, Lucy coughed twice with some embarrassment, and quickly walked towards the room inside. Anyway, I'm going to rest first. See you tomorrow. It's a pity. After watching Lucy enter the house to rest, Lin K shook his head slightly and looked at the door not far away. If you choose to come to me tomorrow in the afternoon, maybe I will already have it. Does it make a difference? The door that Lin K had closed when he had just come in was pried open, and Lee walked in, wearing a cloak. From my observations, I feel that Miss Lucy is not very resistant to you. Take her down whenever you want. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network, but that would be too monotonous and not fun at all. Lin K shrugged. If you let Lucy be taken down in a daze, and then find out the next day that it was her own misunderstanding, then her expression would be interesting. Your character is really bad. A lot of people say that about me. Lin Kei smiled, then most of them were eventually taken down by me. A strange look appeared on Ryu's face. I thought you would say that you took it all down. How is that possible? I'm only interested in a cute girl like you. Lin Kei stretched out his hand towards her. So you're interested in becoming something for me? Liu Lone. Let's discuss the matter of Luo first. Without paying attention to the suddenly funny Lin Kei, the vengeful Liu changed the topic to business with a few words. Where is Luo currently hiding? On the ground, or inside the dungeon? Unfortunately, I guessed wrong. Lin Kei replied cooperatively. He is neither on the ground nor in the dungeon, but is approaching the position in between. In between? Ryu frowned. What does that mean? Literally. Lin Kei broke the news casually. The artificial maze, Nossos, which is a special area built on the periphery of the dungeon. The enemy of your heart, Luo, has been hiding there after 5 years of escaping from you. Or in other words, the remnants of the dark faction who did not die back then are all hiding there. How is it possible? Liu, who had extraordinary comprehension ability, understood what Lin Kei meant in just a moment, and his eyes widened in surprise. Are you kidding? The dungeon is so big, it takes countless manpower and material resources to put a shell on the periphery based on it. If there really is that special area, we couldn't have been unaware of it. You seem to have misunderstood. Lin Kei shrugged. The artificial labyrinth I am talking about was not created in a few years. During the dark and turbulent period, this labyrinth has been built since the great master Daedalus planted a curse on his bloodline, thousands of years ago. After so many years, even that old fox in Aranos has not noticed the existence of an artificial labyrinth, let alone you. The great god of Aranos didn't even notice. So how do you know? Ryu's face was full of doubt. It's obviously Oli who just arrived today. How did you know about the existence of the artificial maze? Did you say, do those people in the artificial maze still collude with the existence outside their city? In order to raise funds to acquire materials, they did have deals with some people outside of Ulari that could not see the light. But don't worry, I don't know them and I'm not involved in those deals. Lin Kei replied with a smile. I will know about the artificial maze, purely because I did not experience a life and seal my own power like the Aranos them. Like that conspicuous area that can no longer be conspicuous, I casually swept up when I was 50 floors of the dungeon and saw it. Ryo. Compared to the artificial maze, did the other party just say something more terrifying? In Chapter 256, the gods are the supreme beings of this world. Even the weakest gods have wisdom and power far beyond human beings and can destroy their entire world, such as one of the 3 major commissions, raiding the dungeon and other long-cherished wishes, to say that it is just a long-cherished wish of mankind. If any god was willing to make a move, it would have been solved 1,000 years ago or earlier. In other words, the gods are the biggest threat in the world. Suddenly knowing that a god without sealing power was standing in front of him, even there, vengeful Ryu couldn't help but feel a chill at this moment. Well, don't be nervous, I'm a good god. But as if guessing what she was thinking, Lin Kei suddenly raised his finger and nodded on her forehead. And if I have to say it, I am not the same as the gods of your world. Don't think about making a small report, Ryu. If I really want to fight, I let them have both hands and feet, and they can't beat me. Ryu. Isn't that a bigger problem? Ryu's expression became more and more complicated. 453 was shocked by Lin Kei's frightening sounding words on the one hand, and, on the other hand, it was serious and the information that suddenly appeared in his mind. Quickly digesting this sudden stream of information, Ryu sighed a little heavily. A god who has arrived from another world. I didn't expect you to be such a special existence. That's not the point. Lin Kei shook his head slightly. I told you my origin, just so that you can believe my words more. In the future, there is only one thing you need to understand now, and that is that only I am willing to help you and have the ability to help you achieve your dreams. In addition to me, even the goddess you love can only choose to sit on the sidelines. You mean killing Sulo? Liu looked at Lin Kei with some doubt. If it's just this level, it's not as serious as you say. No, it's still quite serious. Lin Kei replied with a smile. Why do you think the artificial maze where Luo is located is called a maze? There are a lot of traps there, and the level of danger alone is not inferior to the dungeon. Without preparation, even the LV.6 will not return. What do you think? In that extremely dangerous area, who else but me will help you slip in? Just to kill a small character who is not very important. Even the LV.6 can't be unharmed. Ryu's expression became serious for the first time, since it's so dangerous there. Then Lin. Question. Do you have any good infiltration plans? Infiltrated plans? What do you want that kind of thing for? Lin Kei raised his palm and casually pulled out a spatial door. I'm telling you how dangerous it is to make you understand how important I am. Not that it's tricky for me. Let's go. The other side of the door is the artificial maze. I'll take you to see Xulio directly. Ryu. I almost forgot that this was a god who did not seal his own power. The 18th floor of the artificial labyrinth, located in the room in the southeast corner. Several magic stone lamps were embedded in the surrounding walls, emitting light sources to dispel the darkness. Scattered drawings were scattered around the room, making it seem like the room was a clutter. In the center of the room, a cat man with only his left hand sat at the wooden table, his eyes fixed on the map placed on the wooden table. Perhaps he was designing something, and from time to time he raised his only remaining left hand and changed the map on the map. Boom tilde, boom tilde, boom tilde. I don't know how long it took. A fierce knock on the door suddenly sounded, and a hurried voice came from outside the door. Boss Luo, something is wrong. Something went wrong. Something happened. Luo frowned slightly, put down the pen and paper in his hand, walked over to open the door of the room, and looked at the werewolf standing outside. Calm down, panic Jang into water system. After the train of thought of drawing the map was interrupted, the somewhat dissatisfied Luo reprimanded 2 sentences and asked, "Say, what happened? If it's an insignificant trifle, I'll turn you into an accident today." "It's Boss Luo, your nemesis, Wind Leon." Tucker, the werewolf, replied incoherently, "I just saw the Wind Leon in the artificial maze." "Wind Leon?" Luo, who was very calm in the last second, instantly broke into a sharp voice. "Are you sure you read it right? Didn't she work in that tavern on the ground? How could it be here?" "I don't know." Looking at Xuan Luo, who was more nervous than himself, and his body began to tremble constantly just by hearing a name, Tucker's expression became a little helpless. "Boss Luo, didn't you give me pictures before and let me see the appearance of Wind Leon? I was just on my way here, and I saw a woman who looked exactly like the one in the photo, and I came looking for you." "So where is she now?" Luo hurriedly asked. "Is it in the nearby area? Or is it in?" Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network, Sulo Dash. Before Luo's question was finished, a roar full of anger and resentment suddenly sounded from the corner on the right. Luo's body paused, and he subconsciously looked over. In the next second, a figure so familiar that he could no longer be familiar appeared in front of him with a wooden knife in hand. "Go and die." "Oops." Luo reacted immediately. His body retreated madly backwards, and he retreated directly into the room to avoid the blow. Boom tilde. The wooden knife fell without the slightest pause, and directly flew out. Tucker, who was still talking to Xuan Luo just now. After completing this blow, Ryu didn't even look at Tucker, turned directly to look at the side of the room, and made a charge. "Don't come here." At the same time that Ryu turned to cast his gaze, Ryu ran to the corner of the room and grabbed the iron box that was placed there. "I warn you, Leon, all of what is placed here is fire flame stone." Pulling out a dagger from his arms, he looked at Ryu warily. "If you dare to take a step closer, I will detonate them all with the magic sword in my hand, and we will all die together." "Fire flame stone?" Ryu, who was still about to continue to attack, froze in place. This kind of thing is a special item dropped by the monster flame demon rock located in their deep depths. Once ignited by a flame, it releases a violent high temperature. Although it was only a gaze estimate, Ryu understood that the number of fire stones in that iron box was definitely no less than 3 figures. Flaming stones of this scale gathered together and detonated, and the power of the trigger is self-evident. If this blow is taken at close range, even a high-level adventurer like Ryu will inevitably have no bones. Ha. It is worthy of Leon, and the reaction is very fast. Seeing that Liu stopped, Luo was visibly relieved. "It seems that you have realized the seriousness of the problem." "That's right. You just stand there right now, don't move, and don't think about unleashing magic ranged attacks. As long as you dare to approach or take half a step back, I will directly detonate this box of fire flame stones." "You want to wait for the people of the artificial maze to find out?" Ryu's body was filled with a strong murderous aura. "If you have this idea, it's better to give up as soon as possible. No one will come to rescue you. You have no hope of survival from the beginning. Do you think I'll be tricked by you?" Seeing that his careful thinking was debunked, Luo did not panic in the slightest. In order to prevent accidents, the owner here will check the condition inside the artificial maze every once in a while. Even if I'm in a remote location here, he'll notice something is wrong sooner or later. "Find you, intruder." When the time comes, the people from the dark faction will come, and the person who really has no reinforcements is you. "Leon, I don't have reinforcements." A sneer appeared on Ryu's face. "I advise you to look back." "Helpless, start playing this little trick." A sneer also appeared on Luo's face. "Leon, I understand your horror better than anyone. For you, I'm afraid you don't need time to blink to be able to cross it. I won't be deceived by you. No matter what happens, I won't take my eyes off you." "Really?" A curious voice suddenly sounded behind Luo. Before he could react to what had happened, a palm reached out from his ear, grabbed their magic sword in his hand and pulled it back. "Even if that's the case, you won't look back." "Luo, someone behind you?" Chapter 257. Someone behind you? Faced with this sudden shock, Luo's brain became blank in an instant. However, as a person who has hovered on the edge of death for an unknown number of times, Luo's reaction speed is very fast. In less than a second, he came to his senses, holding the small iron box in his hand and preparing to run to the side. But perhaps guessing his thoughts, The moment he was about to leave, Ryu instantly disappeared in place. Shun. Boom tilde. Ryu, who had been prepared for a long time, did not let go of this enemy again this time, and their wooden knife smashed directly into his legs. With a scream, Liu's body directly lost his balance and rolled on the ground several times. Then, before he could regain his balance, the wooden knife continued to rain down. One after another crisp sounds floated, and Liu's screams became more and more miserable, and blood continued to flow down his body to all around. But even so, Ryu still did not stop, and attacked him more than a dozen times in a row. I won't give you another chance, Liu. Glaring angrily at the dying cat man at his feet, Ryu raised the wooden knife in his hand and shouted angrily, with your confession. Give me hell. Wait a minute. Oh 3. Perhaps the fear between life and death stimulated the potential of Liu, who had entered a near-death state, and he was confused and regained his senses. Leon, aren't you curious about this man-made labyrinth beneath your feet? I've been living here for years. As long as you are willing to keep me alive, I can. Boom. Before Liu could finish speaking, Ryu, who was already unbearably angry in his heart, swung down the wooden knife first. As if a watermelon fell to the ground, Liu's head exploded directly, shooting out a large amount of blood flowers. Nothing can save you. Withdrawing his weapon, Ryu, who had a little blood splattered on his cheek, stood in place, his eyes cold as he looked at Liu's corpse. This time it's really over. Unlike the one 5 years ago, this time Ryu even blew the other party's head with his own hands, leaving no chance. Alexei, Kagyu. Silently chanting the names of his former friends in his heart, Ryu slowly closed his eyes, and his body exuded an aura of relief. You don't necessarily want me to do that, but I finally helped you get revenge. This can't work, Ryu. Just as Ryu was caught in the memory, a palm suddenly fell on her face and touched it twice, directly erasing the blood stains on it. You can't just stop there. There's a lot more you need to do. Don't worry, Lin Kuei-shin. Ryu opened his eyes and had regained his composure again. Sky-like cyan eyes looked at the man in front of her, and she replied. The agreement between us, I still remember. This time I owe you a favor, and when you need me to make a move, I will help you solve their enemy. A favor? That's not enough. Lin Kuei chuckled. Since you still remember the agreement, you should not forget the premise that the reward of this transaction is turned into a favor. Of course I haven't forgotten. When Lin Kuei came to the rich hostess in the afternoon, the original thing he said to her was to take her to solve Liu, and then make another deal with her. If he still refused at that time, the conditions of this transaction changed from joining Lin Kuei's family to being a favor. Although I don't know what the new deal you are going to propose, Lin Kuei-shin, is, my only wish at the moment is to kill Liu. After he died, there was nothing left to impress me. It's better not to say it too hard. Lin Kuei smiled and suddenly asked a question. Liu, how strong do you think I am? Why suddenly ask this? Because this question has to do with the new deal I'm going to propose next. Sorry, even if Lin Kuei-shin says so, it will be difficult for me to answer this question. Ryu shook his head. The gap in strength is too big. Maybe the limit of my imagination is only there. Tip of the iceberg of the gods. Good answer. Lin Kuei didn't care about this, and even agreed with it. In fact, your judgment is correct. Like now, if I say I can get Xulo to reappear in front of you, will you believe it? How is this possible? Ryu frowned slightly, and the afterglow swept towards the corpse on the side. Suluo's head has been blasted by me. It can't be. Well, as soon as he was halfway through his words, Ryu suddenly found Suluo's body, which had been completely restored. Not only did the head grow back up, but even the wounds on the body were all recovered. Perhaps sensing Ryu's gaze, Liu suddenly opened his eyes and got up and sat up. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network. Strange, what's going on? It seemed that he didn't even react, and Zara looked at Ryu's face full of doubts. Am I not dead? Why can I still see? Boom tilde. Before he finished speaking, Ryu's wooden knife fell first, blowing Liu's head again. After doing this, she stood in place and was silent for a few seconds before turning her head to look at Lin Kuei on the side. This is what you did? Yes, Lin Kuei directly admitted. I did it. Why do you do such a thing? I thought that the dead enemy suddenly came to life, and this kind of thing appeared in front of him. Even Ryu was inevitably a little excited. Are you doing this just to get me angry again? Or are you ready to threaten to resurrect Horror 243 and let me join your family? Calm down. Although your proposal sounds interesting, I have no interest in resurrecting a man. Multiple times, Lin Kuei patted Liu's shoulder and replied with a smile. The reason why I did this is just to let you see my power. Reverse life and death, snatch back those who should have died from the realm of death, and bring them back to life. Ryu, guess how many % of my strength I used in order to do this? Liu temporarily suppressed the excitement in his heart, and guessed a number with Lin Kuei's question. 50%? It's too high. Lin Kuei shook his head. I simply stopped his soul and then directly stuffed it back into his healed body. A simple operation like this doesn't even use half of my strength for me. Don't you even need half a cheng? Liu's body paused, and he once again realized Lin Kei's horror. "You are very powerful. I already understand this. So you don't hesitate to resurrect Luo to let me understand what this matter has to do with the new deal." "It's really dull, Ryo." Lin Kei let out a chuckle, after seeing how easily I resurrected Luo. "Didn't you expect to borrow my power to do something? For example, resurrect your friends?" Ryo. Chapter 258. Resurrect friends? Hearing Lin Kei's words, even Liu, who had been mentally prepared in advance, was still greatly impacted at this moment. Her brain was blank and stood in place. She looked at Lin Kei in disbelief, and only after half a ring did she open her mouth to make a slightly expectant sound. "Can it really be done?" Ryu asked. Unlike horror, Arish's body was destroyed 5 years ago. After such a long time, let alone a corpse, even the soul has probably reached the heavenly realm. Even so, can you still complete the resurrection? What you said is so serious. Ordinary resurrection means naturally can't be used. Seeing that Liu was instantly hooked, the corners of Lin Kei's mouth rose slightly, and a smile appeared on his face. "But, although ordinary means of resurrection cannot be used, unconventional ones can still be used." "What to do?" "Don't worry, Ryo," Lin Kei replied with a smile. "After hearing this, I think you should understand what the second transaction I mentioned before is." Ryo paused in his body. "Resurrect the allies?" "That's right. Our second deal is to resurrect all the members of the Asteria clan who were destroyed 5 years ago. But unfortunately, this time I will not give you concessions and let you have other options." Lin Kei raised 2 fingers and gestured towards Liu. "Accept my deal, join my family, and I will help you resurrect them. Or refuse my deal and continue to work as a clerk in that pub and live in the dark. I'll give you a minute to think, and if you still haven't had a minute." "I accept this deal." Liu directly interrupted Lin Kei's speech. His eyes were staring at Lin Kei tightly, and Liu, who had been constantly refusing since their beginning of the meeting, did not shirk again this time. "As long as you can resurrect the Alice there, I can accept it no matter what the cost. Even if it is to violate the justice you have always insisted on and personally destroy the order of Ulari. Never mind." Ryu gritted his teeth. His eyes did not waver in the slightest. "If I really did something like that, I would personally repent to Goddess Astrea afterwards." Violating the justice in his heart and destroying the order that he has been guarding will inevitably cause Ryu's heart to suffer. There is no need to question this, because Ryu has experienced it himself as early as 5 years ago. Burned by the flames of vengeance, he personally disrupts the order guarded in order to kill everyone who may be related to the dark faction. In that revenge without right or wrong, even Ryu knew that he must involve innocent people. Thinking about this incident today, Ryu still regrets it and is tormented in his heart. But the thought of seeing his companions die without doing anything, or even finally sending his best friend on the road, this remorse will quietly dissipate. No matter how many times he repeated, Ryu would raise his weapon and still make the same choice, just as he did now. "Please, Lin Kei, please help me resurrect them allies." "Well, you said so, of course I won't let you down." Lin Kei smiled and patted Liu's head. "To be honest, your answer makes me very satisfied. For your full score, I decided to give you an extra reward." "Ryo, do you want revenge? The chance to solve the murderer who really killed the Astria's clan with his own hands?" "The real murderer?" Ryu seemed to have thought of something, and his face became a little gloomy. "What you're talking about is Zagnat?" "That's right," Lin Kei replied, "the cleanup who was born when a certain area of the local lower city was overwhelmed. Zagnat. Do you want to kill that Zagnat with your own hands and take revenge?" "Zagnat is dead." Liu was a little unable to understand what Lin Kei meant. "That's just a monster temporarily spawned by the dungeon, and there is no magic stone as the core in the body. Once the duration is exceeded, it automatically disintegrates. 5 years ago, after I healed my injuries and returned to the dungeon, I found its body. At the same time, it was also the last straw that overwhelmed Ryo. All her companions died in battle, but the real murderer did not give her a chance to take revenge, and she died first." The anger accumulated in her heart but could not be vented, and she finally pointed the finger at the secret valve who indirectly caused it all. "There is no chance for revenge, even if the dungeon recreates Zagnat. It is not the same one as the one back then." Instead of thinking about this kind of thing, "I just hope that the ally Shets and them will survive smoothly." "No, there is still a chance for revenge." Lin Kei shook his head. "I should have just said that there are no corpses and souls, and it is very difficult to complete the resurrection. If you resurrect directly, maybe someone can do it, but I can't do it at the moment. In order to achieve the goal, the best way is to solve the problem at the source." "At the source?" "That's right. Solve the problem at the source." Lin Kei casually pulled out a white light in midair and clicked twice on it, leaving 2 black dots. "Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network, take the present as a node, travel to the past 5 years ago, and change the fact that Alyssa and others died. Then seal Alec and the others, and return to 5 years later without causing other effects. Find the place to seal them and unseal them." In this way, the fact of death did not exist from the beginning, and Alec and the others naturally completed the resurrection. Travel through time? Ryu's eyes widened in surprise. Can you even do this kind of thing? Of course, Lin Kei replied with a smile. I looked at it before. The time-space barrier of your world is not too thick. Even my not very proficient time magic can be forcibly broken. The only risk is that when you travel through time, your body will be eroded by time. The longer it travels, the higher the erosion will be. This is a big problem for ordinary people or the gods of this world. But for Lin Kei, let alone 5 years ago. Even earlier, Lin Kei was able to go back, but it was just a matter of whether he wanted to do it or not. I'm the only one who can go back in time. Normally, it's up to me to solve Zagnat and save the Asteria clan for 5 years. But if you have this idea, I can bring your memory back and let the past you solve the other party. It's not enough. Zhao Hao. Ryu was silent and replied, although I want to take revenge personally, I still understand. Even if I prepare in advance, I will still lose against Zagnat. You don't need to think about that. Lin Kei shook his head slightly. You just need to tell me if you want to take revenge personally. Of course I do. Perhaps it was Lin Kei who asked what pain point he had, and Liu's expression suddenly became excited. If there is a chance to kill that guy myself, of course I want it. But I hope that the ally Shets will survive more than killing Zagnat. If you don't make a move, with my strength alone, it is impossible to kill that guy's Feng without injury. That's not easy to say. Lin Kei stretched out his hand with a smile and nodded Liu's forehead, causing the other party to temporarily fall into a coma. In short, I have received your idea. Then you can get a good night's sleep, and then get up and think about how to repay me. Chapter 259, of Nidaurali South. The top floor of the Hotel Herbal. Huh? Lin Kei, you are back. Lucy, who had just passed by after taking a bath, was surprised to find that Lin Kei, who had disappeared not long ago, appeared in the room again. It's just that compared to when he left, his bed was equipped with a delicate-looking elf. This is the tavern clerk. In the afternoon, after taking a closer look and recognizing the identity of the other party, Lucy's eyes showed a look of surprise. What's wrong with her? How could it be in your bed? Because I used sleeping magic on her. A bad smile appeared on Lin Kei's face. Until tomorrow morning, she will always be in a coma. No matter what I do to her, she won't wake up until then. Huh? Lucy's eyes widened in surprise. Wait a minute. You're kidding. This kind of thing is illegal. Hey. But there is no way. It's too boring to sleep alone in the evening. I want to find something soft to hold and sleep. Lin Kei shrugged his shoulders and looked at the girl in front of him who didn't seem to react, only tied a circle bath towel on her body, revealing a large area of 517 snow-white skin. How about Lucy take her place? Come up in the evening as my throw pillow. Huh? This. Unexpectedly, the fire of war suddenly burned on her, and Lucy's face showed embarrassment. But in the next moment, Lucy seemed to react and suddenly shouted, "That's not right. The question now is not who will be the pillow. The problem is how you are behaving now. This is a naked crime. Stop it for me. But even if you say this, if you want to do it, Lucy, you can't stop me. It turns out that way, but I'll try to stop it." "Stop yourself too." Lin Kei let out a chuckle. "Okay, I still have business, so I won't tease you first." "Huh? Was it a joke?" "Nonsense. How could I possibly do such a thing?" Lin Kei rolled his eyes. "If you play in a coma, there is no reaction at all. It is simply boring." "Lucy, I'll tell you, this kind of thing, whether voluntary or not, must be done when the other person is awake, so that it will be more interesting." "Isn't that even more excessive?" Lucy covered her head with some headache. "It's true. I can't tell which of your words is true." "Now, of course it's all true." After temporarily placing the sleeping Liu, a cloud of magic appeared on Lin Kei's body, and a complex magic array appeared under his feet. "Huh? What are you going to do here?" Lucy looked at Lin Kei suspiciously. "This magic, it seems to be quite powerful." "Good vision. This is indeed the highest level of magic." Lin Kei smiled. "Don't blink or you may miss it." "Missed what?" "Of course it is. It's time to travel in time." Boom tilde. The sound of shattering that only Lin Kei could hear was remembered in his ears. His eyes became deep, and Lin Kei looked at the long river of time and space that existed in their concept. Taking the Liu in front of him as a reference point, the scene in front of Lin Kei's eyes began to flow backwards. Killing Luo in the artificial maze, working in the rich hostess, Lin Kei came to the door, and got up in the morning for daily exercise. The little by little that Liu experienced reappeared in Lin Kei's eyes, and time began to go backwards rapidly. A day ago, 3 days ago, 7 days ago, a month ago. In the end, the scene in front of Lin Kei came to 5 years ago. Found it. Listening to the roar caused by the explosion of a large number of fiery stones in his ears, Lin Kei's body took a step forward. The next instant, he appeared in the dungeon. The shaking caused by the flaming stone did not subside, and the sound of debris collapse echoed from a distance. Pushing away the stones on his body, Ryu stood up in a daze. Her gaze swept around, becoming devastated, and the cave chamber with a large number of potholes on the floor came into her eyes. "Is everyone okay?" "Good risk. Good risk. It's funny that it's really a trap, or the commonplace routine of using flaming stone as a bomb. The smoke and dust slowly dispersed, and the voices of the members of the Astria clan reached Ryu's ears one after another. Although some people appeared to have suffered minor injuries, the final result was unharmed. Is it really all an illusion? Read violent novels. Go on Fellow Fiction Network. Ryu stretched out his palm and rubbed the position of his temple. I don't know why, since the explosion just now, a strange scene has been in my mind. The dungeon is overwhelmed, spawning terrifying monsters to kill Alishite, Kaguya and others. Thinking of the disgusting image, Ryu shook his head and tried to drive it out. It seems that because the explosion just now was too terrifying, I had a bad association. Anyway, everyone, why are you still alive, you bastards of the Astria's clan? Ryu's self-talk had just arrived, when a roar suddenly came from not far away. Ryu looked up, his eyes keenly passing through the smoke mixed with a large amount of Mars, and looked at the cat man standing on the other end. It was an enemy who had not yet lost his arms and ears and looked young. Although the other party's tone was full of anger and hatred, there was more fear on his face that was visible to the naked eye. How many firestones do you think we have invested here? Why can't this kill you? How is it possible? Hearing the other party's words, Ryu's eyes suddenly widened and he noticed that something was wrong. This scene, she had seen in the memory that had just emerged. If memory serves, the next thing that Alizette, who is standing not far away, will say, "It's really yours to make such a big move." Lan Luo. Patting the dust on his body, Alexei held a long sword and aimed it at the members of the Lord Hara clan, in front of him. But that's the end of your tricks. We are here to end the dark faction and this age of sin. Nope, wrong. Ryu's pupils contracted into needles, and his body began to tremble slightly. Not an illusion. Exactly the same. This absolutely cannot be an illusion. This is Memories from the Future. Chapter 260. Huh? Hearing Ryu suddenly say something inexplicable, a girl with long black hair on the side and a pitiful-looking girl cast her gaze. Stupid elf, what's wrong with you? Shouldn't it be stupid by the explosion just now blown up? Now is not the time to argue about this. Kaguya. An anxious look appeared on Ryu's face. Everyone, listen carefully to what I have to say next. The damage caused by the explosion just now is too great, and the dungeon will be born soon. Just as Ryu was about to alert the others, the cry of the dungeon sounded first. It was as if a blade had slipped through a taut silver string, exuding an extraordinary, inorganic, high vocal range. In just a moment, this voice activated the adventurer instinct of everyone present, making them shudder. Boom tilde. A crisp cracking sound sounded, and a wide and long crack appeared deep in the huge wall that had been destroyed by the explosion not far away. While emitting hot steam containing high temperatures, a disgusting purple slurry flows out of it. Oops. Faced with this scene that was exactly the same as in his memory, Ryu couldn't care to remind the others at the moment. Following her body's instincts, she slammed into the human girl on the side. Noin, get out of the way. Boom. At the same time that Ryu took Noin and left the place, 3 huge scratches appeared on their ground. The Orknitz, who was not far away, widened his eyes and let out a sound of surprise. What's wrong? There is a monster attack. Get out of the way. The speeding wooden knife hit Niz and sent her straight out. Boom. Deep scratches reappeared on the ground, leaving 3 deep marks of the knife. Everyone be careful. In just a second or so, 2 Do members were attacked by unknown people one after another. As the head of the Astria clan, Alexei immediately came to her senses and sent a reminder. The speed of the monster is extremely fast. Pay attention to the front row to stop it. Don't resist. Ryu's prompt sounded at the same time. The monster's attack can ignore the defense. Astur, get out of the way. Listen to Ryu. As soon as Ryu's voice fell, Alexia, who was still ordering in the last second, changed his requirements. By the way, give up your defenses. Dodge as fast as you can. The dwarf girl who was about to raise her shield slammed her body and directly dropped the heavy shield in her hand and rolled to the side. Boom. Another roar sounded, and the shield, together with the ground, was split into several pieces by the indestructible claws. Ryu. And what intelligence. Noticing the end of the shield, Alexei, who changed his strategy as soon as he heard the prompt just now, quickly asked, "Can you attack with magic?" Nope. That guy's body surface will bounce magic. Then the back row concentrates on dodging and don't launch any attacks. Dodging the black shadow coming from the side, Alishite, the strongest in the field, gave the order. Kaguya, you follow me and cut off that guy's leg first. Also, if my order clashes with Ryu in a while, it will be her master. Trouble is dead. Holding the weapon around his waist, Kaguya made a gesture of conjugation. Wasteward elf, remember to give us an explanation after this fight. Of course. I don't have to say I will. Helping his best friends avoid the most dangerous first killing, Ryu also adjusted his state at this moment, and put down the Noin in his hand to make a battle posture. This guy's name is Zagnat. You can think of it as a floor master with the ability to move at high speed. In short, it must not be touched by its claws, otherwise it will only be torn apart. Don't worry, I'll be able to keep up with it. Alisaka's eyes kept shaking, looking at the shadows that shuttled between the floors around him. It's the first time since that 2 years ago. The power has increased to this extent. Zeng read Saki. This is a rare skill held by Alexei, and its effects are divided into 4 points in total. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network. When fighting, strength gets a high correction. In times of adversity, endurance and dexterity are highly corrected. When engaging powerful enemies, agility and mana are corrected. If the above 3 conditions are met at the same time, strength, agility, and mana will be additionally corrected by a small amount. Very simple and crude effect. Simply put, it is an all-round attribute improvement. When it can make Alexei face a high-level enemy, he will not be unable to fight back. At this moment, after the effect of this skill was fully activated, Alexei, who had already reached the LV.4 limit, completely entered the field of LV.5. Even Zagnat, who is full of agility, can see its movement trajectory clearly. Here it comes. With a bang, Alexei's body disappeared in place, and another LV.3 who did not react appeared on the other side. And at the same time, a cold light streaked through midair. Chopped, leaving the safety of his companions to his own leader, taking advantage of the pause in their moment of the opponent's attack. Kaguya swung the fastest slash ever. Ask for flowers. Glancing at the claws that had fallen to the ground and shone with a blue-purple light, Kaguya's expression became more and more serious. Stupid elf. After the other party has been attacked once, they will definitely become more cautious. You follow me next and try to solve it within 3 hits. I don't need you to say it. I'll do the same. I didn't expect it to be successful once. At the edge of the battlefield, Lin Kei calmly watched the girls who were constantly attacking ahead and gradually forcing Zagnat into a corner. Compared with the original timeline, it was almost the result of the annihilation in less than 10 seconds. This time, with a near-perfect response, they began to gradually approach victory. And what caused all this was just a few hints from Ryu about Zagnat's abilities. Sure enough, compared to the lack of basic attributes, the bigger reason is the first sight of the ability to kill. Lin Kei, who had already been ready to let Liu try a few more times by going back in time, couldn't help but let out a chuckle. It can only be said that in the original timeline, the luck of the Astria clan was too bad. Obviously, as long as it develops normally, it can become the 3rd largest family comparable to the Loki family and the Freya family. Before the dawn was about to darken, he encountered the most troublesome Hatsu-killing god in the Earth-wrong world. Magic bounces, defensive disregard, plus high-speed movement. Under the same level, let alone the Asteria clan, you have to suffer a big loss for Ota to change. This side seems to be fine, and the next thing is to deal with the details first. Looking at the ghosts not far away, it seemed that they wanted to find an opportunity to make a move against the members of the Lord Haru clan. The shadow under Lin Kei's feet instantly popped out, swallowing all the beings except Liu. Liu, who was standing in place, reacted slowly, and his face showed horror. But before he could speak, a palm grabbed his head and lifted him up. Although I really want to solve you together, but in order to avoid causing too much change, let's keep it. Invisible spiritual fluctuations flowed into Liu's mind, and the other party's memories began to change constantly. After making sure that the other party's memory would not be overlooked, Lin Kei casually threw it into the space door on the side. With this false memory, try to live, and then in 5 years, meet your doomed death. Chapter 261. The battle between the Astrians and Zagnat ended with Ryu's mending knife. Taking advantage of the opportunity for Alexei to save the group members again, Kaguya pulls out his knife and severely damages the other party. Determined to be replaced by the other party, Ryu rushed to the other party before Zagnat could react, and directly smashed his head with the maximum attack. It's over. Looking at the corpse that turned into a pile of ash under his feet, Ryu seemed to have completed some major mission, and his body exuded an aura of relief. In this way, everyone doesn't have to die. Death, you, a wastewood goblin, are you saying something inexplicable again? Not far away, after hearing Ryu's words, just after putting away his weapon, Kaguya cast his gaze. Then again, how do I feel that your temperament is a little different, huh? It seems to be real. Alexei also cast his gaze. I feel that compared with not long ago, the temperament of 757 has suddenly aged a lot. I think it's more appropriate to use maturity. That's not the point. Ignoring the little Terran Lyra's correction, Alice looked at the elven girl with some nervousness. Ryu, what's wrong with you? Shouldn't it be that those guys from there, Lordra clan, have secretly cursed? Don't worry, Alice, I'm fine now. Facing the worried gazes of the clan members who cast their eyes together, Ryu shook his head and smiled joyfully. On the contrary, I am in better shape than ever before. You can really see that. Kaguya nodded approvingly. So what the hell is going on here? How do you know what this guy is capable of? Also, what do you mean when you suddenly said that you don't need to die? How does it sound? Like we're going to die? It's more cumbersome to explain. After digesting all the memories in his mind, Ryu understood everything at this moment. It was Lin Kei who brought back everything she had experienced in the future and stuffed this memory into her mind. With this memory, she rescued the companions of the Asteria clan and successfully killed Zagnat. Back. You guys wait first. Liu's gaze looked around. Since I successfully obtained this memory, it means that Lin Kei is around. I'll look for her. It will be much easier to have him explain. Memory? Lin Kei? Hearing another strange word and an unknown name coming out of Ryu's mouth, Kaguya, who was more cautious, frowned slightly. Who is this again? Where did you meet the weird guy? It's me. A reply sounded, and a palm patted Kaguya's head. It is better to treat the lifesaver with a better attitude. When did you get closer? In the face of the sudden strange sound, Kaguya's body tensed, and he subconsciously opened the distance to make an attack posture. But in the next moment, she seemed to remember Ryugan's words again, and her palm moved away from the hilt of the knife, looking at her original position suspiciously. You are Lin Kei in Luku. And what about the lifesaver? Although it is convenient for Ryu to give me an explanation, it is too slow to say, sentence by sentence. Looking thoughtfully at Huey and the others, Lin Kei suddenly snapped his fingers, and a smile appeared on his face. Anyway, you also need to die temporarily for 5 years. Just understand all this in your sleep. Death? Sleeping? Alec realized that something was wrong. Just now Liu's mouth also mentioned that if we don't have to die, what does your death mean? Hey? Halfway through the words, a sense of lethargy suddenly rose in Alicika's mind. The sound of falling to the ground came one after another, and the afterglow of Alice swept Kaguya and the others who fell to the ground. In the blink of an eye, except for her reluctance to hold on, only the culprits Lin Kei and Liu were still standing in place. It's the first time I've encountered such powerful magic. Forced to endure a feeling of sleepiness, Alexia sighed a little helplessly. Forget it. Since Ryu chooses to believe you, then I won't continue to resist. When I wake up, I must give a good explanation. Boom tilde. As soon as he relaxed his tense nerves, Alexia instantly fell into a deep sleep. Like Kaguya and their others fell to the ground. Great harvest, great harvest. Lin Kei flicked his finger and emitted 10 red rays of light to wrap Alexia and the others, transforming them into red beads. Controlling the magic silk thread to string these 10 orbs together, Lin Kei smiled and waved at the remaining elf girl. Thank you, Ryu. With your help, I harvested 10 beautiful girls at once. Saying something strange again. Although in the eyes of Liu now, she is meeting Lin Kei for the first time and contacting Zero. But the familiarity brought by the memory of the future made her talk to Lin Kei very smoothly. What's next? Do I need to clear the dark faction again as I remember? Read violent novels. Go. On Fellow Fiction Network. Don't bother so much. Lin Kei smiled and threw the bracelet made by Alexi and the others in his hand. I will temporarily seal and modify your current memory to ensure that your next behavior trajectory will be the same as the original timeline. When I return to the future and unseal your memory, I will resurrect all the members of their Asteria clan without causing any changes. Is that so? It seems that another bloody storm is about to be set off. Ryu sighed, not paying too much attention to this matter. Just like she said when communicating with Lin Kei before, as long as she can resurrect Alec and the others, she can bear any price. I'll see you in 5 years, though it might be a moment for you. Not really. Lin Kei smiled. I still have some things to deal with, and I won't return to the future immediately. For the time being. Don't leave right away. Ryu was stunned. What else are you going to do? Go find the 5th member of our clan. Lin Kei smiled. In short, when you wake up again in 5 years, I will give you a surprise. Just hold this expectation and wait for 5 years. Invisible spiritual fluctuations spread from Lin Kei 3.1. Without giving Liu a chance to continue asking, Lin Kei directly sealed the other party's memory, leaving the other party with only the experience of the original timeline. Looking at the girl who was suddenly stunned in place, as if she had experienced something unacceptable, and her face showed despair. Lin Kei thought about it, threw out the weapons of Yalixi and the others that had just been put away, and scattered them to various areas. That should be fine. Nodding his head in satisfaction, Lin Kei activated the time magic again before Liu came back to his senses. If you have a little time, do you jump forward for another 2 years? Looking at the impressive silver figure that remained in Liu's memory, Lin Kei smiled and disappeared in place. Next, it was time to rescue the 5th member of the family of his family. Silent Witch, Althea. Chapter 262. The burning sensation of magma, and didn't feel it. Althea slowly opened her eyes and looked at the night sky above and the familiar scene around her. Here it is, the top of the Tower of Babel. When she was still in Ulari, Althea, who often came here to enjoy a quiet life, had a look of surprise in her eyes. What happened? Didn't she just fight in the dungeon, and finally decided to turn herself into fodder for the new generation of heroes and jump into the magma? In the blink of an eye, she suddenly ran to the top of the Tower of Babel. Moses, if you really don't understand, you might as well turn around and look at me. How? Althea, who was completely unaware of someone approaching, looked at Lin Kei standing behind him with some surprise. Are you God? Oh? That's really interesting. Lin Kei let out a chuckle, You are still the first O3 person who thought I was a god for the first time after I came to this world, because I feel on you the breath of divine power similar to that of the gods. Althea looked at Lin Kei seriously. I just don't know why, after feeling it deeply, I always feel that it is a plausible thing. Don't think. The breath on my body is indeed not the divine power in your understanding. Lin Kei replied with a smile. If I have to explain, it is something similar that I made after referring to Shen Wei in order to make others more acceptable to my identity as a god. Although there are indeed many differences in the details, you are really very talented to be able to see the gaps at a glance. Accept your status as a god. Althea keenly captures the key word. You are not a god, but a god disguised. Does it exist? Specially? Well, that's pretty much what you understand. Anyway, before I find a disagreeable guy to devour, I and they are not a species for the time being. And the ability to devour? The keen Althea once again noticed the key information that Lin Kei casually revealed. But unlike just now, after the initial shock, Althea has regained her composure. Perhaps it is because the body is close to the limit, because the body has the will to die. Even if he heard the shocking secret, Althea did not mean to go deeper at the moment. Although I don't know what you really are, I have realized that your strength is very strong. Patting the dust on the long black dress, Althea looked away from Lin Kei and looked at the liquid crystal below. Specifically saved me and came here to talk. Is there something you want me to do? Or are you going to use the devourer in your mouth to eat me for the benefit? Count both. Of course, Lin Kei's eating and Althea's understanding of eating are not the same thing. To put it simply, I fancy you. I have the ability to cure your disease. Do you want to follow me? To be honest, I don't really want to. Intuition told Althea that if she followed the other party, she would probably become more busy than ever in the future. But if I have the ability to cure disease, I am naturally not willing to give up the opportunity. As if seeing her thoughts, Lin Kei let out a chuckle. Is it because you don't trust the heroes of the new generation? That's right. Althea nodded. In the battle just now, those guys showed really good will. However, fighting is not a simple will. It can decide everything. The heroes of the new generation are the last hope. They must fight the Black Dragon and fulfill the long-cherished wish of the Nether to prevent the Nether from re-entering the Age of Chaos. But the problem now is that the power of the Black Dragon is very strong. So strong that even the current Althea is not capable of solving it. Instead of handing that responsibility to the new generation of heroes who are still young. Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. I think it's more reliable to cure disease in my body and solve it myself. Althea turned her head to look at Lin Kei. But before that, I have to determine your true purpose. If you join the other party's family, it will cause more chaos, and you will put the cart before the horse. Althea must determine this in order to give an answer. My purpose is to unify the world. Lin Kei replied unabashedly. After unification, I will integrate this world into my body, and then build a paradise that allows me to release my desires. Integrate the world into your body? While it sounds bad in every way, Althea notices a bigger problem. If you can do this kind of thing, your strength will probably be higher than I thought. It's just to unify the world. There shouldn't be a need to specifically save me. Did you say? Are you wary of the existence of other gods, so you can't use your power at will? 780. That's not it. I can destroy those gods at will. Lin Kei smiled and waved his hand. The main thing is that there is nothing to do, so I just play the cultivation game. So what about your reply? My purpose is almost the same as you said, and you should give me an answer. Nothing to choose. Althea thought quietly for 2 seconds, then shook her head. Since the result is the same with or without me, then I naturally choose to live. Not only to fight the Black Dragon, but also to have the opportunity to see his sister's children. You want to see Belle? He's doing pretty well. It seemed that he heard Althea's heart, and Lin Kei's voice came from the side. Not only did he come to Olari 7 years later, but he also directly joined the Loki family. If I hadn't been, it would probably be a matter of time before he became famous all over their world. 7 years later? Huh? Didn't I tell you? Lin Kei raised his eyebrows. I am 7 years later, and I saw your nephew at noon today. Althea. It feels like things suddenly become more mysterious. Chapter 263. The process of interpretation is not complicated. In order to save time, Lin Kei directly typed his own origin into Althea's mind. Through time, can even this kind of thing be done? After standing quietly in place to digest the news, Althea showed a complicated look on her face. If you hadn't just saved me, in the original timeline. Of course it's scuttled. It's also, after all, jumping in without any protective measures. It's strange to survive. But 7 years later, there should be little left before the deadline. When Althea said this, she seemed to remember something, and suddenly asked with some curiosity. After 7 years, how have the Asteria, Loki, and Freya families all grown? If all goes well, they should join forces with each other and start preparing to conquer their dungeon and solve the Black Dragon. Although I don't want to hit you, the reality is crueler than you think. Lin Kei replied with a smile. Before I left, the Loki clan was still on an expedition and did not break through to the 59th floor. Freya's dependents don't explore dungeons at all, and only train their dependents in their own homes. As for the Asteria clan that you personally cultivated with yourselves, they didn't live to that point. 2 years from now, they will be almost destroyed due to an accident, and only one person will survive. I just came to this node after saving them, by the way. Althea, simply put, of the 3 dependents she placed high hopes on, 2 are playing single player, and 1 is directly offline. Clenching his fists, Althea suddenly felt that he and Chado had lost some money in this wave. You seem to be a little unhappy with this result. Lin Kei's chuckle came from the side. If you are dissatisfied, then call back in person. 1 month of the identity of a stay-type dependent. The time to be able to freely declare war. This is the stage I prepared for you. Sounds good. The corners of Althea's mouth rose slightly. In that case, let's dispose of the disease on my body. First, it's easy. Lin Kei raised his palm and pinched Althea's chin, and then leaned down before the other party could react. Ultimate creature, launched, and everything about the concept of Althea appeared in front of Lin Kei's eyes. Different from the previous direct mouthful, this time Lin Kei's operation is much more delicate. Dismantling everything contained in the concept of Althea, Lin Kei isolated the diseases in his body. After completing this step, Lin Kei continued to urge the power of the ultimate creature, and swallowed the disease in one gulp. Thank you for your hospitality. Lin Kei got up and distanced himself from Althea and licked his lower lip. Don't make the taste, Althea. You guy. Althea, who was suddenly attacked by the sneak attack, frowned and directly raised his palm and swung towards Lin Kei. Even if I agree to your conditions, it doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. I think it's better for you to calm down. Casually caught the other party's white little hand and squeezed it. Lin Kei smiled and let it go. Don't say it's this kind of ordinary attack. Even if I stand still, your most powerful magic can't impress me. Another point, the gods in my understanding with you are not the same kind of existence. Since you agreed to my conditions, it means that you are now my possession. I can do whatever I want to you, and you don't have the conditions to refuse. Althea. You're even more reckless than I thought. Althea frowned. Aren't you afraid that I will secretly betray and attack you behind my back? I'm not afraid. Read violent novels. Just go on fellow novel network. Lin Kei replied with a smile. I'm actually quite tolerant of my own people. If you sneak up on me, the most I can do is to throw your nephew into the deepest part of their dungeon and will not do anything else. Althea, who had wanted to say something, fell silent for a moment. Her own sister's child is her last weakness. The other party was obviously well aware of this, so he would threaten her with Belle's affairs. Well, don't be so silent. Lin Kei patted Althea's head. I'm not a demon. I won't do it casually. As long as you are obedient, I may be able to fulfill some of your wishes. My wish? That's right, like resurrecting your sister or something. Lin Kei replied with a smile. After personally experiencing it twice, I am sure that the power of time erosion in your world is indeed not good. Whether it's 5 years, 7 years, or 15 years, it makes no difference to me. If you obediently listen to me, I may be in a good mood and travel in time. Just like you now. The disease in your sister's body, I can also easily cure it. Anyway, with this level of disease, it didn't have any effect on him at all. Basically, as soon as he swallows it, it will be treated as garbage by his body and automatically purified and cleaned up. Not to mention 1 or 2, even if it is hundreds or thousands, it will not have any effect. On the other side, after listening to Lin Kei's words, Althea fell into silence again. She naturally noticed the fact that she had healed herself. Although there are some objections to Lin Kei's healing process, I have to say that the other party's means are indeed very powerful. Just after more than a second of contact with herself, the disease that had plagued her for more than 20 years disappeared in an instant. Whether it was resurrecting his sister or curing the other party's illness, Lin Kei used what he did to show that he was not deceiving people. I see, Ura. As if a decision had been made, Althea suddenly spoke. As long as you can save Metlua, I'm willing to listen to you. You said it yourself. Looking at Althea, who had long grey hair and a slim figure in front of him, Lin Kei showed a meaningful smile on his face. In that case, let me see your sincerity. Chapter 264. Top floor of the Herbal Hotel. The invisible fluctuations of time and space flickered, and Lin Kei appeared in place with a leisurely face. Hey Lucy. There was no change in front of him or before leaving, and the girl who was still surrounded by a bath towel waved her hand, and Lin Kei said with a smile, I'm back from travel. Is there anything you want to say, huh? Lucy looked at Lin Kei with a confused expression. Although Lin Kei stayed for several days 7 years ago, he and Althea unlocked various poses. But in Lucy's eyes, he just said to himself 1 second that he was going to time travel and disappeared in place, and the next second he came back. Wrong. After staring at Lin Kei blankly for 2 seconds, Lucy finally reacted. Time travel? Have you just been to the past or the future? Lucy, you're too slow to react. Seeing her reaction, Lin Kei couldn't help laughing. If you are so stupid, I feel guilty about you. Hey, that's not the point, okay? Lucy's eyes widened in surprise. You can even do such a thing as crossing time. Lin Kei, you are too powerful. It's okay. It's not as exaggerated as you think. Lin Kei waved his hand. My 347 is actually a shortcut. If you want to travel through time, opening the door to time and space is only the first step. What really happens is how to enter the river of time without being eroded by time. The time magic obtained by Lin Kei in the lottery is essentially a primary time magic, and their level is not high at present. The effect looks good. It is completely good for him to put the output effect up. With this level of time magic, opening the door of time and space is already the limit, and it is impossible to further resist the erosion of time and space. However, unlike ordinary people, Lin Kei's physical strength is very high. This advantage allowed him to skip the second step directly and take a shortcut to directly complete the time crossing by hard resistance. Unfortunately, only I can use this method. If you take the regular passage, I may be able to take you for a walk. If there's no reliable way, there's really no way. Lucy looked at Lin Kei with some curiosity. So what did you do after you went back in time? I didn't do anything. I saved a few, people. Lin Kei turned around and looked at Ryo, who was still asleep on the bed. Compared to when he left, a bracelet consisting of 10 red beads appeared on the elven girl's wrist. Under Lin Kei's protective magic, this bracelet was not damaged in any way, exactly the same as when he had just created it 5 years ago. It seems that there were no accidents. Nodding his head in satisfaction, Lin Kei walked over and stretched out his finger and poked Liu's cheek. It's time to wake up, Ryo. At the same time, at the gate on the west side of Ulari, a tall beauty with short blue hair came from inside Ulari. Commander Shakti. Several members of the Kanasa clan who were guarding the door saw each other and quickly turned around to say hello. Why are you so late? Any urgent tasks? Nothing, just received a message. The head of the Kanasa tribe, Shakti Farmer, who was known as the Staff of God, came to their city wall and looked up into the distance. There is a special god who will return to Ulali tonight. Although the other side's dependents have been hit hard, as an ally on the same front, it is necessary for me to personally come and greet you. Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. The dependents have been hit hard, allies on the same front. Who's this? Several members of the Kanasa clan looked at each other, not understanding what Shakti meant. However, Hasana, who is a member of the Kanasa clan with relatively old LV.4 seniority, quickly thought of an answer and his eyes widened sharply. Wait. Commander Shakti. The special gods you are talking about. Wouldn't it be referring to Goddess Asteria? That's right. Shakti nodded slightly. It is the Goddess of Justice. How did she come back? Hasana's face showed shock. There should be nothing worth her nostalgia here. Shakti shook his head. It's hard to say. It is different from other ignorant and limited team members. Shakti knew very well that the dead Ryo mentioned in the guild's notice 5 years ago was still alive and well. As the only survivor of the once Asteria clan, Ryo is undoubtedly special to the Goddess of Justice. In this regard, this sudden return, if nothing else, should be related to Ryo's affairs. Time passed slowly, and after Shakti chatted with his group members for more than 10 minutes, a carriage slowly approached from afar. Here it is. Opening the already closed gates, Shakti jumped directly from the wall. Welcome back, Goddess Asteria. Long time no see, Shakti. The gate of the carriage was opened, and a goddess with long brown hair and a long white dress came down from above. Looking at the girl in front of her, the corners of her mouth rose slightly, and a smile appeared on her face. You look a lot different from before. After all, I've been through a lot since then. Shakti also smiled. It's you. It's still the same old way. There is no change at all, because I'm a god. Asteria blinked and replied with a smile. If the eternal and unchanging gods change, then something is wrong. Sometimes I still hope that the gods can change, so that the god Kanasa will not be so noisy. Every day. Shakti's head a little helplessly. Shakti suddenly lowered his voice and asked. Speaking of which, Goddess Asteria, are you coming back this time for Ryo's affairs? It really has something to do with Ryo's affairs. Recall what the man who suddenly appeared 7 years ago said. And to this day, the number of favors has not diminished in the slightest. Asteria, who had always been gentle and approachable, rarely showed a complicated look. But it's not just Ryo. I hope you won't be scared by then. Chapter 265. Frightened? After listening to Asteria's words, a puzzled expression appeared on Shakti's face. What does that mean? What you are prepared to do? It has little to do with me. Asteria thought for a moment and continued. It can't be said that it doesn't matter. Anyway, it will cause a lot of commotion in the future. Shakti, just be mentally prepared. You should be very busy then. Shakti, how does it sound like a warning of a terrorist attack? Shakti's expression was a little subtle up. This is really suspicious. If it weren't for the person who said this, it would be Asteria, the goddess of justice. Shakti probably started directly and grabbed the other party for torture. That's probably it. Anyway, Asteria, who also understood that there was something wrong with her statement, did not talk much about this matter. Patting the carriage carrying her aside, Asteria's face showed a gentle smile and continued to speak. I still have some things to do. Can you let me in first? Of course. Although he noticed that there were other figures in the car, Shakti did not care. There is no doubt that Goddess Astlia represents justice. Her past contacts and experiences have given her unconditional trust in this goddess. The person who can be seen by her as a companion can definitely not be an evil person. Turning sideways to give way to the carriage, Shakti spoke. If you need any help, you can always come to the Kanasa clan to find me. Well, I will. Getting back into the carriage, Strya waved at the blue-haired woman. I wish you a good night's sleep tonight, Shakti. Shakti, what a strange blessing. Good luck. Shakti didn't doubt it. Inside the carriage, which was not empty, Astlia looked at the grey-haired beauty sitting in front of her. It seems that she treats you as a member of my newly recruited clan member. It's Solax. Closing the book in his hand, Althea, who had been looking down at the book, commented lightly. In just 7 years, my eyes were covered by full space. It seems that it is still too reluctant to give the heavy responsibility to these new generation heroes. As stern as ever, Astlia smiled gently. How about lowering the requirements a little? Shakti and they are already trying. Althea shook her head slightly. Anyone can do it hard, but this is not enough. People like Shakti who are not talented enough, if they want to complete their mission, they must challenge the limits and constantly break it. Without the determination to die to go beyond the limit, it is impossible to win. At this point, the Freya family, who fights to the death every day, is doing well. It's a pity that only the middle and lower class people can be trained by Freya's dependents. For example, Otar of LV.7 today, and the Cardas of LV.5 and LV.6. The level has been stuck for too long. If you want this group of main forces to continue to improve, you must go deeper into their dungeon. For this reason, the union of Freya's family and Loki's family is indispensable. But she has been wandering around the world for 7 years, and the news she receives indicates that Freya and Loki have no intention of doing so. Not to mention the union. These two families with completely different styles get together, and it is good not to fight. Forget it. When I knew this from that guy 7 years ago, I was mentally prepared. Althea stood up and pushed open the carriage door on the side. Since I survived, the heroes of the new generation are not important. Whatever happens next, I'll settle it alone. Where are you going? Astlia looked at her suspiciously. Don't you come with me to see Linkay? When I just talked to you, that guy had already communicated with me remotely. Althea replied lightly. He said that at 12 o'clock, the privileges of the state-type dependents are in effect. Let me make a territory first. I'm ready to do so soon. Astria, who had been prepared for a long time, was a little helpless. Which clan are you going to do to you? Just that, it's closer. Althea looked right ahead, and above hung a mansion with a golden bow and a banner of their son. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network. The scale of the mansion was not too large, but it was not small, and it was more than enough to house a dozen people according to Linkay's request. Taking advantage of the moment when the carriage passed by the gate of the mansion, she took a step to the gate earlier. Huh? Where did you guy come from? I don't have any impressions. I don't look like a member of the family. Noticing Althea's approach, the two guards who were watching the gate cast their gazes. The guard on the left glanced at Althea, and a strange smile suddenly appeared on his face. You look quite beautiful, so come to the door of our Apollo clan in the evening. You should not be a solicitor. Boom, boom. Too many words. Althea lifted her delicate jade feet and walked past the two breathless corpses. At the same time, after hearing these two loud noises, a large number of members of the Apollo clan ran out of the mansion. What man? There is an enemy attack. Get ready everyone. Wait a minute. The gatekeepers Mei Ailan and Hardy seem to be seconded. How is it possible? Aren't they all LV.2? Leave those alone. Go and call Commander Jacintos. Shocked comments kept wafting. After noticing that the two LV.2s who were guarding the door were killed in an instant, their members of the Apollo clan fell into shock and riot. At this moment, a man with brown hair and an adventurer's costume walked out from behind the crowd. Silence. Quieting the surrounding clansmen, Jacintos looked up at the grey-haired woman walking in front of him. Who are you? Why attack our Apollo clans? If you can't give an explanation, don't blame me for being unkind. Gospel. Responding to Jacintos was Althea's voice magic. Boom. River. Chapter 266. What happened? Jacintos lay on the ground with a confused look. Warm blood slowly accumulated under his body, and severe pain continued to rise from all over his body. It took several seconds for Jacintos to come to terms with this reality. He lost. He didn't even see clearly what the enemy had done, and in an instant he ushered in the worst defeat in history. Are you kidding? Struggling to get up from the ground, Jacintos stared wide-eyed at the grey-haired witch not far away. You monster, where the hell did it come from? So there is still an LV.3. As if noticing Jacintos at this time, Althea cast his gaze. It seems that you are the leader of this little clan group. Why attack us for no reason? Jacintos looked at 917 angrily. We Apollo dependents should not have provoked you. I'm from Linkay's clan. Althea calmly replied. As a state-type dependent, I have the right to attack any dependents in Ularin. You have been defeated, and from now on, including Apollo, everything in the Apollo clan is our booty. Within 10 minutes, leave here with your people. and I have temporarily requisitioned this mansion. Lin Kei's family, Jacinto's, who had heard this name, widened his eyes in disbelief. Isn't that a clan that was just created yesterday? Why is there a strong person like you? Boom tilde. The terrifying force landed on Jacinto's back, smashing it directly into the ground and falling into a coma. If you can't understand what I'm saying, then change to someone who can understand. Althea turned and looked at the male god who came out of the mansion not far away. Apollo, give you 10 minutes to take your people and get out of here at once. Are you Silent Witch? Unlike Jacinto's, Apollo, as a deity, recognized Althea's identity with a surprised expression on his face. Didn't you die 7 years ago? How is it still alive? Do you think I don't dare to do anything to the gods? Hey, those rice buckets of the guild didn't investigate before agreeing. Apollo didn't know what to say at the moment. He also heard Althea's explanation just now. The Lin Kei clan is a state-type dependent, and according to the rules, they have now lost. Not to mention Jacinto's, even his status was demoted to a god. Faced with Althea's request, he had no right to refuse. The only thing that has to be said to be lucky is that Althea's magic just now is obviously left behind. Except for the first 2 doormen who couldn't control their mouths, the rest of the people were only seriously injured at most. Within minutes, Apollo woke up all those who could still stand up and led them towards the outside of the mansion. What's going on here? At the same time that the Apollo dependents began to shift their positions, Shakti, who was belated, appeared in front of the mansion with a patrol team of the Kanasa family. Her gaze crossed the crowd in front of her, and she immediately saw the beautiful figure standing in the courtyard. Are you Althea? Shakti, who personally participated in the great struggle 7 years ago, will naturally not forget this figure. How is it possible? Aren't you dead? Althea did not reply, just glanced at her calmly, and walked directly into the mansion. Abominable. What the hell is going on? Ignored, Shakti frowned tightly. Not knowing why, she thought of the blessing from Astria not long ago. Coincidence? Or is it really related to that goddess? Shakti, who felt a mess in her head, took a deep breath and looked at the patrol team that had followed her. You sent someone to pass the news back first. That's right. Apollo, please stay for now and help explain the specific situation. I don't have anything to explain. Apollo was like eating, and his face was uglier than Shakti's. You go ask the stupid pigs in the guild. Shakti, how is it related to the guild again? Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network, top floor of the Herbal Hotel. Explosions. At the same time that Althea made a move, Ryu, who had just woken up, also sensed something was wrong and looked out the window. What a strong magic. Have a tier 1 adventurer fighting? Take it easy. Not the enemy. Lin Kei on the side replied with a smile. It's Althea who is looking for a house for us to live in, and tomorrow we can move into a new home. 0. Althea? Do you mean the Silent Witch? Ryu frowned a little suspiciously. She wasn't 7 years ago. Wait a minute. You did a time trip after that? Remember what I said before I sealed your memory? Lin Kei smiled. I told you at that time that I would give you a surprise when you wake up. Ryu, you call this a surprise? Hi is not good for her to say, shocked that it is really felt. Although that guy is not a bad person in nature, is it really okay for you to save her? Ryu asked. The great struggle 7 years ago, but many people died. If the news that she is still alive is revealed, it will cause a riot in the whole of Urali. So what? Lin Kei didn't care about this. My 10,000 tons of gold is not a white flower. If anyone is not convinced, then subdue him. If you can't be convinced, then send him directly on the road. But, Ryu, don't forget your own position. Lin Kei reached deep into his palm and touched the elf girl's wrist, as well as the bracelet made up of 10 orbs that she wore on her wrist. Now that you are my man, if you disappoint me, the consequences will be serious. I understand. Well, you don't have to worry too much. 1.6 Lin Kei patted Liu's head. After all, after the fight, we will plunder everything from the defeated side, and Althea still has a sense of proportion. Instead of caring about those outsiders, what you should do now is not for me to unlock their seal of the Alice and let them awaken. Alice, them. Liu sighed, faced with the current situation. I really don't know how to face them. Then let them sleep again? No, right now. Ryu took off the bracelet. If it drags on for a long time, I am afraid that I will really not dare to wake them up. Then you can rest assured. Lin Kei took the bracelet with a smile. When the time comes, even if you don't want to wake up, I will wake up. After all, he had seen it with his own eyes, and none of the members of the Asteria clan were low-looking. Chapter 267. Alice felt as if she had had a dream. In the dream, after receiving the news, she took the members of the clan to the dungeon to fight the remnants of the Lodra clan. In the end, due to a sudden accident, he encountered a special monster spawned by their dungeon, resulting in the almost total destruction of the Asteria clan. Even she herself lost her life in order to protect Ryu from staying alive. And when Alec came back to her senses again, She had already arrived in a space of consciousness filled with fiery red flames. Directly above the space of consciousness, the image of the extinction of Asteria's family was played. It doesn't look like a fake. A thoughtful look appeared on Alice's face. She is no stranger to this monster that destroyed the Asteria's family, because before she saw this tragic image, she had just solved each other with the other members of the clan of dependents. Is this death in Riku's mouth? Compare the 3 members who died first in this memory, and Ryu's behavior in real memory. Alexis came up with the O4 theory. She may have died once. Since my memory is playing on the left, is this playing Ryu's memory? Alec looked at another screen in midair not far away. The picture played above is exactly the picture of Ryu starting to kill all sides in order to take revenge after the members of the Astria clan were completely destroyed. The image on the screen does not speed up, except for skipping some daily privacy, basically releasing everything that Ryu went through. Surrounded by the flames of vengeance, he will stop at nothing to eradicate all existences that may be related to the dark faction. Then it burned out, and was picked up by the passing tavern clerk to start a new life. Even in the new life, he still did not completely let go of justice and secretly help those in need. Finally, he met Lin-Kei and exchanged himself for the resurrection of the Asteria family on their grounds that he joined the Lin-Kei clan. Alike didn't know how long he had been in this strange space of consciousness, but she didn't feel bored, but just stood quietly in place and watched all the images. Later, after realizing that there was no way to get out, she even replayed it backwards, watching it several times. It wasn't until a certain moment that a fiery red gate appeared in front of Alice that she stopped the move. It's time, as if understanding something. Alice directly raised her foot and stepped in. In the next moment, a spacious room different from the space of consciousness came into her eyes. Her gaze swept around, and she looked at the elven girl standing not far away, raised her hand and waved. "Yo, long time no see, Ryo." The corners of Alex's mouth rose slightly, and a happy smile appeared on her face. "Seeing that you are still so spirited, I am relieved." "Alican?" Ryo looked at her with some doubt. "Aren't you going to ask me what happened?" "No, no, no." Alexi replied with a smile. "I have seen everything you have done. For us to do this, I was moved to cry." "HMPH, I see you don't have the look to cry at all now." Gojo Kaguya, who was lying on the ground on the side, sat up and rubbed his forehead twice. "It's the wastewood elf opposite you, who looks like he's about to cry." "I didn't want to cry." Holding back some moist A's, Ryu looked at the members of the Asteria clan who kept getting up from the ground. "Then again, everyone knows. He showed us all your experiences." Glancing at Lin-Kei, who was standing on the side, Kaguya replied, "Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. Although it is a bit humiliating to behave on weekdays, it is really good this time." Wastewood elf. The little Terran Layla nodded approvingly. "Indeed, I didn't expect that Liu, who looked honest, knew so much. It seems that you have a good memory of what I teach you on weekdays." "Elves who can make a lot of insidious moves. I feel that Ryu has been completely taught by Lyra." That being said, it seems that the experience did make a difference. "It's normal, after all, it's something that Layla taught. It's strange if it doesn't work." It seems that Miss Ryu's previous worries seem to be superfluous. Looking at the members of the Asteria clan who surrounded Ryu and constantly exchanged to comfort her, Lucy's face showed emotion. They all seem to agree with Miss Ryu's approach, and none of them blame her because the rigid guy like wood in the clan is only this firewood elf. As if hearing Lucy's words, Kaguya, who was not far away, cast his gaze. If it was someone else, even if the family group was destroyed, it would not be destroyed. "Well, don't say that, Kaguya." Alexei on the side turned his head and looked over. Even if he was carried away by revenge, he still did not completely abandon justice. "After losing the fighting spirit, I don't forget to exercise, and when I meet someone in need, I will help in the depths of the secret." Ryu has already done a good job. "Even if I am the perfect messenger of justice, there is nothing to say. You are just too accustomed to these 513 wastewood elves to let her waste 5 years in vain." Kaguya sighed. "For 5 years, the growth of strength is almost zero, which is really humiliating. If something happens to Zagnat again, won't she have to go through the original timeline again, and only watch others die?" Hearing Kaguya's words, Ryu couldn't help but be speechless for a while. In fact, she basically hasn't been to the dungeon many times in the past 5 years. "Even if you go, you will go up to the 18th floor at most. The growth of strength is limited, and it is not an exaggeration to say that 5 years of time have been wasted." "Kaguya, don't be embarrassed." At the same time that Ryu fell silent, there was a sound of pushing the door. Astria, dressed in a long white dress, opened the door of the room and walked in from outside. Her blue eyes looked at everyone in the room, and a soft smile appeared on her face. "It's good that everyone can be back together." Chapter 268. Lord Astria. Looking at the oncoming figure, Ryu's face showed a look of shock. "When did you come back?" "Just came back." Astria replied with a smile. "When I came back, I took a detour to pick up someone, and I thought I would be late. Now it seems that luck is good. The time is right." "Exactly." Hearing Astria's words, Liu was stunned for 2 seconds and seemed to think of something, and suddenly looked at Lin Kei. When you went back in time, did you still have contact with Lord Asteria? Don't you know it yourself, Ryo? Lin Kei replied with a smile. The gods can feel whether the favor they have given has decreased. Leaving aside those state-type dependents with a large number of members, there are only 11 people in your clans. If you don't say hello to her in advance, even if your memory is sealed, she will still notice that something is wrong. Simply put, that's it. Astria nodded slightly, a gentle smile on her face. At that time, Lin Kei suddenly told me that you would die in the future, but it shocked me a lot. Later, in order not to cause more impact, I had to follow his request and leave Ulari 5 years ago. Sorry, Ryo. When you are most miserable, I can only choose to watch from the sidelines in order not to interfere with history. It's nothing. After 2 seconds of silence, Liu shook his head. As long as everyone can be safe and sound, I will be satisfied. But, according to the agreement between me and Lin Kei, I will join the Lin Kei family next. Step. Lord Asteria, can I ask you to help complete the next conversion ceremony? There's no need to bother so much. As soon as Liu's voice fell, before Asteria could reply, Lin Kei's voice came from the side. The goal of our family is to unify the world. Since the Asteria clan has returned to Oli, it is also one of my targets to subdue like the other dependents. Now that I have declared war on the Asteria family, do you want to surrender or continue to resist? This declaration of war is really sudden. Yalixi looked over with a smile, but justice will not yield, Lin Kei. So you choose to resist? Of course. No. Alike raised her hands and waved them casually twice. Although justice will not yield, I have died who once held justice. Now that I am a newborn, like Ryu, I am just an ordinary person who goes with the flow, and I surrender. Ryu's eyes widened in surprise. Alexei, what are you suddenly saying? It's okay, Ryu. A smile appeared on Alike's face. Even if you abandon justice, it doesn't matter, I will accompany you. Let us start again and embark on the road of justice again at a new starting point. Count me in. Kaguya raised his hand. I also surrender. Kaguya, and if I the regiment commander has voted, there is no point in me continuing to resist. Surrender and surrender, it's completely impossible to fight. Indeed, the impression is that Lin Kuei seems to have put us all down with one move and surrendered. I'm a healer, and if you all vote, then I don't have any other choice. Without any intention of resisting, all the members of the Asteria clan made their choice in just a few seconds. Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. Everyone. Thank you. Standing in place dumbfounded, Ryu finally came to his senses at this moment, and the corners of his eyes became a little moist. Boom. Just as Ryu was about to say something, a loud collision suddenly sounded, and the door of their room was forcibly kicked open from the outside in. Led by an orc, more than a dozen tall figures with masks ran in from outside. Ha! Found it. There are quite a few people. Looking closely at Lin Kei standing in the room, the orc who took the lead let out a maniacal laugh. You are Lin Kuei. I heard you are rich. It's already the second day. The identity of the state-type dependence is in effect, and we have the right to attack you. If you don't want to suffer, hand over the rest of your money. Sneaky standing outside for so long, it turns out to be waiting for time. Lin Kei, who had already discovered the other party, chuckled twice, and looked past the crowd to look out the door. There are quite a few people coming, but since you are divided into several teams, it seems that you are not just a dependent. Nonsense. We are not fools. Jiafu, who took the lead in the charge, sneered. Since you dare to stand up swaggering, you naturally have confidence. But we are not fools. In order to avoid accidents in this operation, we invited LV.5. Boom. As soon as Gaz's angry words fell, a new roar sounded, and a huge gap was smashed out of their wall that not far away. A woman more than 2 meters tall, with a strong figure but short hands and feet, and a stocky appearance walked in. The passage is much wider now. Are you Freeney Jamil of the Aster clan? Ryu recognized the identity of the other party, and a serious look appeared on his face. When those guys say LV.5, do they mean you? Nonsense. Who else can it be besides the old lady? The huge eyeballs turned, Nuozao's, around, the wide mouth raised to the sides as a whole, and the toad-like Freeney looked at Lin Kei. You are Lin Kei Shenma? The long one is quite handsome. It's a pity I can't make a move against the gods, otherwise I will say anything to you. Boom tilde. Before Freeney's words were finished, a dull explosion suddenly sounded. Under the gaze of everyone, Freeney's head suddenly exploded without warning like a watermelon that fell on the ground. You made my eyes noisy lungs. His gaze was withdrawn from Freeney's body, and Lin Kei looked at Jinyu and the others not far away. Okay, your LV.5 is gone. Are there any other whole cuds? Hurry up and bring it to me. Anger, what happened? Chapter 269. LV.5 was seconds. Looking at Freeney's body not far away, Kanu and the others, who were full of confidence not long ago, were directly stunned in place at this moment. That's LV.5. The famous first-level adventurer is also a top-ranking existence in the monster-like Hulari. How easy was it to be seconds? What a joke. Kenny looked at Lin Kei in disbelief. Aren't you a god? Why did it shoot? What's wrong with my shot? Lin Kei's face showed a teasing look. Do you still expect me to be like other gods? And I won't fight back when I am ridden on the face? But Kenny opened his mouth, and a look of horror appeared on his face. After the gods are in their nether realm, aren't they all sealed with power? Why do you still have such strong power? You're pretty funny. Lin Kei couldn't help but laugh. I can use my power at will, of course, because I haven't sealed myself. The pitch-black shadow instantly spread from under Lin Kei's feet, instantly devouring Kanu and the others at the door along with several other hiding teams. Even this kind of question can be asked. It seems that there is a bit of a problem with how much the brain is. There is no need to stay. 147. All of a sudden, they all died. Yali looked at this scene with some emotion. Is it really okay to shoot so casually? If other gods see it, there will be a big mess. It's okay, they can't beat me together. Lin Kei smiled and digested the memory he had just obtained. Let me see, are there a total of 4 dependents to shoot? Sumo dependents, Ishtar dependents, Ikaros dependents, Thanatos dependents. In order of strength, let's go and kill the soft persimmon sumo family first. Huh? Wait a minute. After listening to Lin Kei's words, Kaguya of one sensed that something was wrong. Thanatos and Ikaros. If I remember these 2 names correctly, they are the gods of the dark sect. Even if there are artificial labyrinths, they should all hide in the dark. How can you take the initiative and run outside to trouble you? If the reason is that the orc who was the first to rush in just now, there is something to say. Without waiting for Lin Kei to reply, Astia on the side gave an answer. They took a fancy to Lin Kei's money and wanted to take this opportunity to plunder Lin Kei's remaining money. Money? Kaguya frowned slightly. Did you say, is it to buy materials to build artificial mazes? Some basic information about the artificial maze, Kaguya had learned in Ryo's memory. In order to be able to guarantee the overall strength of the artificial maze, it will not be destroyed by a little thing. The walls of the huge man-made wonder are made of super hard metal, solid steel, and their gate is made of the hardest refined metal, mountain copper. Regardless of the metal, the price is not low in the market. If you buy a lot to build artificial mazes, let alone it is completely astronomical. Speaking of which, the wine of the gods of the Sumo clan is very popular in the market. Needless to say, as the owner of the custom street, he controls a lot of money. Hearing Kaguya's prompt, Ryo on the side seemed to have thought of something, and a thoughtful look appeared on his face. Did you say, isn't it a coincidence that these 2 dependents would act together with the people of the Thanatos family? The people of the secret sect are now rats crossing the street. Where did so many coincidences come from? A sneer appeared on Kaguya's face. If nothing else, these 2 dependents should cooperate with the artificial maze side in secret. The Sumo and Ishtar provide funds and channels to help purchase materials to build man-made labyrinths. The Thanatos and Ikaros dependents provide manpower or some convenience to help these 2 dependents solve some minor problems. As long as the movement is not large, this kind of transaction is really difficult to attract the attention of others, and it is very suitable for the personality of that group of guys. Yoxi then, according to Lin Kuishin's plan, let's target the Sumo clan first. First arrest the people of the Sumo clan and ask for more details. Arixi ignited his fighting spirit, grabbed Ryu with his left hand and grabbed Kaguya with his right hand, and walked directly towards the door with the 2 of them. However, just after walking a few steps, she seemed to have thought of something again, and turned her head to look at Lin Kei. The people of the Sumo clan shouldn't have to be killed all, right? Whatever you want. Anyway, after these little minions eat it, it's not enough to stuff my teeth. Lin Kei replied with a smile, but for the sake of your resurrection and you don't know anything, I'll remind you of it. Among these clans, the Ishtar clan is the only one with more normal people. Is it actually the Ishtar family? Alice was a little surprised. It seems that the situation is worse than I thought. But don't worry, I won't let the wicked go. Alexei patted his chest, his face full of confidence. I will catch all those evil people and solve them one by one. Sumo family. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network. Strange, why haven't you come back yet? Standing high above the territory of the Sumo family, Shanice looked at the gate in the distance, and the road further away. As the leader of the Sumo clan, he was naturally very clear about the actions of the Sumo clan in the present day. Logically speaking, this sneak attack should have started as soon as it exceeded 12. Now it's almost an hour, and there is still no news back, which is really a little strange. Did you say missed? Shanice frowned. It shouldn't be. The role of the Sumo clan is to probe and cover, so the combat power can be ignored. But in order to ensure the success of this operation, the Ishtar side sent LV.5 Frenny. In addition, the Dark Valve side also sent several LV.3 and one LV.4. This luxurious lineup is more than enough to attack even a medium-sized dependent. Lin Kei's family, a small family that has just been founded, even if there are whole cards, It is impossible to deal with it. But the current situation is that none of the members of the Sumo clan who sent them over to make up the number has returned to report to him on the situation of the war. No, you can't wait any longer. A sense of foreboding rose in Chanise's heart. I have to go and confirm the situation in person. If those geese really miss and expose their relationship with the Sumo clan, I have to prepare a way out in advance. Huh? I seem to have heard something interesting. Just as Chanise was about to act, a dagger suddenly came out from behind him and hit his throat. Don't move. If I find out something is wrong, I will really do it. Chanise, where are the enemies? Chapter 270. At the gate of the Sumo family, a small Terran Lili with burgundy hair and a light brown robe slowly walked from afar. Its back. Looking at the mansion in front of her, Lili's eyes flashed with disgust and repulsion. This is a matter of course. After all, no one can have a favorable impression of a family who often bullies himself and squeezes his own money. If possible, Lili did not hesitate to choose to quit the Sumo clan and find a place to live an ordinary life. It's a pity that she doesn't even have the right to quit her family. Due to the inaction of the god Sumo, the rights of the dependents were all on the head of their regiment, Chanise. Unless one day she dies in some dark corner, the other party will not let her go, a money-making tool. I hope I won't be found fault with those bastards this time. Sighing silently, Lili pushed open the door and walked into the courtyard of the Sumo family. Strange, why didn't there be a guard today? Just a few steps inside, Lili, who was cautious, noticed that something was wrong. It's so quiet. Are the people in the clan out? The fox looked around suspiciously, and a sense of foreboding rose in Lili's heart. But today is a fixed day to turn in the harvest, and she can't stop and leave directly because she is too quiet. Otherwise, the next day people in the clan will find you, and you will inevitably suffer from flesh and skin. Suppressing the strange feeling that rose in her heart, Lili walked all the way to the mansion. After coming here, Lili, who still did not hear any movement, did not venture in, but quietly approached the gate and listened carefully for a few seconds. After making sure she still hadn't heard anything, Lili confirmed something. Sumo family, something happened. Although this news meant that the Sumo clan had become very dangerous, the corners of Lili's mouth still subconsciously rose, revealing a smile. It's okay if something happens, as long as it doesn't affect her. With this thought, Lili carefully lifted her little feet and stepped back without making a sound. But before Lili could take a few steps back, a calm voice suddenly sounded out of thin air. Since you're all here, don't you go in and sit. Suffered. Lili's pupils contracted into needles and shook violently. Found yourself resistant the idea of escaping, Lili turned to look at the man who appeared behind her at an unknown time. Huh? As soon as she saw the other party's face, Lili felt a familiar feeling. You are Lin Kuei-shin. Oh? Do you even know me? Yes, on the notice board of the guild in the afternoon, I saw your appearance drawing my looks. Interesting. A smile appeared on Lin Kuei's face. It seems that after I left the guild side, Leo Man found someone to draw it. Not bad, my money was not spent in vain, and this publicity is quite good. Lili, is this the point? Silently swallowing her saliva, Lili looked at Lin Kuei quite nervously. She hadn't forgotten the reason why the other party's appearance appeared on the notice board. It was past 12 o'clock, and it was the next day. The other party will appear here at this moment, which is nothing more than two possibilities. Cooperate with the Sumo clan and come to attack the Sumo clan. But if it is the former, it is impossible to not move at all. After thinking about it, Lili took the initiative to ask. Lin Kuei-shin, may I ask, did you bring people to attack the Sumo tribe? That's right, it's already captured. Pushing open the door of the mansion on the side, Lin Kuei smiled and looked at the legitimate Lili in front of him. Do you want to come in with me? It was obviously impossible to escape after being discovered by Lin Kuei. Agreeing to the other party's invitation, Lili followed him all the way into the mansion and into the backyard. Huh? As soon as she entered the backyard, Lili saw a thin, bespectacled man tied to a stake. That is Chanise. Although the other party looked embarrassed now, Lili still recognized this acquaintance. How did he get tied up? Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network, because he is dishonest in his hands and feet. He always wants to make trouble. Layla, who was spinning a dagger in her hand, walked over from not far away. Coupled with his knowledge of the secret sect valve, I can conclude that this guy has a big problem. In order to prevent him from escaping, I used a little force and broke his limbs. In this way, even if it is LV.2, it is impossible to break free after being tied with a rope. Speaking of this, Layla paused slightly, and looked at Lin Kuei on the side. Normally, the next step is to torture this guy and get as much key information as possible. But Lord Lin Kuei, if you don't mind, can you help extract his memory? The lovely family members have asked for this, naturally I will not refuse. Lin Kuei smiled, and the shadow under his feet spread forward, directly swallowing the Chanise on the stake. In the next second, he casually rubbed out a small ball of light and threw it towards Layla on their side. Okay. The key information has been extracted, You can share it with the allies. It's really simple and rude. Layla smiled and took the small ball of light handed by Lin Kuei, but to be honest, I always feel that even extracting memories is superfluous. Master Lin Kuei, you look confident. Do you already know what he has done in secret? Yes, he's helping to sell heretics in man-made labyrinths. Heretic. It's a sane monster. Lin Kuei gestured to the small ball of light in Layla's hand. It's too troublesome to explain. You just look back at that group of memories. I see. Layla nodded and glanced at Lily. Speaking of which, is this newcomer to the family you fancy? It looks like the strength is a bit weak. Strength is not the point. After all, when I don't shoot, the mid to high-end combat power is enough for you and Althea. Lin Kuei patted Lily's head. What I really fancy is the magic she masters. 10. Chapter 271. Magic. Hearing Lin Kuei's words, Layla and Lily's faces changed one after another. Of course, the reasons for the change in the complexion of the two are still different. The former was curious about what Lily's magic was, which could attract the attention of a monster like Lin Kuei. The latter was purely frightened. Lin Kuei, do you know what my magic is? Of course I know. Lin Kuei nodded slightly. Transform into a magic, stove gray girl, I'm right. That's right. Lily's expression was suddenly full of fear and confusion. How did you know about this? This magic is the secret of her ability to keep making money and surviving. In order to prevent retaliation, she did not tell anyone. Theoretically, 3 should only be known to Sumo, who renewed her favor. Could it be that Lily used to? Among the adventurers contacted, were there any members of the Lin Kuei clan? Actually, you don't have to hide it. Lin Kuei smiled and patted her head. Since I know your magic, I naturally know that you have done those things. Don't worry, I won't care about this for you. My only requirement is to be obedient. Can you do it? Since the Sumo clan has lost, then Lily is now equivalent to becoming a trophy and joining their Lin Kuei clan. After a few seconds of silence, Lily replied, what Lin Kuei said. Lily naturally will not disobey. Not bad. I like your kind of enlightened one. The smile on Lin Kuei's face became stronger. Speaking of which, your life in the Sumo clan is not very satisfactory, right? Yes. Lily didn't care how Lin Kuei knew at the moment, and replied directly and truthfully. Due to the delegation of power from the god Sumo and the administration of Tsanis, their overall atmosphere within the Sumo clan is chaotic. The members of the clan are bent on making money, and they only want to scrape together enough money to buy the wine of the gods in Chanisna. In order to be able to get more money, they often shotted Lily and robbed Lily to be a supporter. Stolen money. Then do you want to take revenge and go back? Lin Kuei smiled and asked, just take it as a reward for your willingness to obey and confess. Truthfully, I can give you a chance to do something to those guys who bullied you in the past. It doesn't matter if you beat them with your fists and feet, cut off their limbs, or kill them outright. As long as you have ideas and needs in this regard, I can satisfy you. Of course, there is only one chance. If you refuse now, there will be no next time. Revenge back? Looking at Lin Kuei in front of her, Lily's face showed a thoughtful look. She has been bullied by people in her clan since she was a child, and I don't know how many times she was almost starved to death, so she naturally wants to take revenge back. But the question now is Lin Kuei really asking questions, or is he testing her? Recalling what Lin Kuei had just done, Lily hesitated for a few seconds, and finally did not choose to hide it. Lily wants revenge back. Let those murderers experience what Lily has suffered. Then meet your requirements. Lin Kuei looked at Layla on the side. Next, she will take over the post of Tsanis and become their leader of the Sumo clan. Those people from the Sumo clan will be locked up first, and they will be handed over to Lily tomorrow to deal with. Shut it all up. I understand. Layla, who had a general understanding of what was going on, didn't say much. With one last look at Lily, she turned directly and left. I'll arrange what you said first. See you later. Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. Okay, stop being in a daze. After watching Layla leave, Lin Kuei reached out and waved twice in front of Lily. Lyra is gone, and we should go. Go? Yes, go ahead and fulfill your wish. Lin Kuei replied with a smile. Don't forget that in addition to those members of the dependents, Sumo himself is also one of the culprits that caused you to be bullied. Huh? Lily's eyes widened in surprise. You mean, do you want to do something to God Sumo? I said it, I will fulfill all your requests. The power of the realm slowly emerged. Lin Kuei disappeared in place with Lily's body, and appeared in a room on the highest floor of the mansion. Glancing at the robe in front of him, even if the dependents were captured, there was no reaction, and he was still quietly making wine. Lin Kuei lowered his head, patted Lily's head on the side, and asked, do you need me to provide weapons? This Lin Kuei, or forget it. Recovering from the sudden spatial teleportation, Lily temporarily suppressed her inner doubts, and her face showed embarrassment. As we all know, the gods can only be dealt with by the gods. Lily is just an ordinary person, no matter what the reason. As long as she does it, it is a mortal sin. So, do you want me to do it for you? Actually, you can leave God Sumo alone. Lily replied in a low voice, even if it is Lin Kuei, as long as he does it, it will still have an impact. I understand. It seems that you still want me to do it for you. Lin Kei nodded slightly, and in Lilai's confused gaze, he walked directly to Sumo. Give you 5 seconds. Do you have any last words to say, Sumo? Hearing this powerful statement, even Sumo, who ignored foreign affairs, couldn't help but be stunned at this moment. Dumbfoundedly raised his head and looked at Lin Kei for 2 seconds. He replied, if you want to have 2.2, just go to Chinese. Nothing else? Then let's hit the road. Lin Kei reached out and grabbed Sumo's neck, urging the power of the ultimate creature to the extreme. Sumo, who had not taken Lin Kei's words seriously, instantly felt a sharp pain coming from the depths of his soul. The terrifying crisis between life and death made Sumo directly ignore the agreement of their gods and unseal the sealed power. However, just as he was about to gather his divine power and launch an attack towards Lin Kei, in front of him, the invisible giant mouth of the ultimate creature had already fallen. Group member Aquaman devours the god Sumo, obtains 1000 world reputation points, and rewards 900 W group points. Chapter 272. Should it be said that it is worthy of being a supreme deity? Listening to the sound of ascension ringing in his ears, Lin Kei's face showed a look of thought. I didn't expect to kill one and it would be full. In that case, it may be an opportunity. There are still quite a few gods in the wrong world. Find a few who look unpleasant and tie them up to kill the rest of the group, and one knife is a 900 W point. At that time, he will take a little share, and he will be able to accumulate tens of millions of points in minutes. Let's go back and find a test to try. Making a decision in his heart, Lin Kei smiled and looked at Lilai not far away. After he devoured Sumo, Shuzi remained in a daze, standing motionless in place. Lin Kei walked over and reached out and waved twice in front of her. Why is it so quiet? This is after the great revenge. Happy do not know what to say. What the hell is going on here? Lilai was naturally not happy and didn't know what to say, looking at Lin Kei in front of her. Her face was full of shock. Why did God Sumo disappear as soon as he lost 05? Lin question, did you use the magic you just moved to teleport him away? Why did I teleport him away? Of course, I ate it directly. Lin Kei patted his stomach. Although your request is for him to experience the same treatment as you, I don't have the time and interest to torture him. Slowly, one step directly to the stomach. You should have no problem, right? Eaten. You can understand that you are dead. Anyway, it is impossible for you to see the Sumo in your impression again. Lily was completely stunned at this moment. Normally, if a god is mortally injured, it will automatically unseal the power and return to their celestial realm. But when Lin Kei started his hand just now, there was no pillar of light when the gods returned to the celestial realm. Obviously, the death in the forest gap is really dead. This is a god killer. Why did Lin Kei say it, as if it was not a big deal? And more importantly, as a god, why didn't Lin Kei seal himself? Whether it's the shadow that devours Chinese, the special magic that just took her sudden transfer, or the means to kill Sumo, all of this shows that the other party has not lost its strength. Standing in front of her was probably a complete deity. What the hell is going on here? You don't really have to think about it that much. Just when Lilai had more and more problems in her brain and became more and more confused, a palm suddenly fell on her head and touched it. After all, even if you know everything, you can't change anything with your power. Just listen to me like before. Lily understood. Good. Keep up the attitude. Lin Kei smiled. Okay. Let's go to the next stop. Next stop? Lily's eyes widened in surprise. Is there anything else? Members of the Sumo clan were locked up. Even Sumo, the god, was killed by Lin Kei. Calculated, her enemies should be gone. Where is Lin Kei going? You can't make something out of nothing for her and create enemies on the spot. It is naturally impossible to create enemies. Lin Kei snapped his fingers and took Lilai to the small private space he created. But remove the enemy, then it's still no problem. Why did he like Lily's magic? Not just for now. A legal Lilai who can transform freely and has the attributes of all foreign maidens. Simply perfect. At the same time that Lin Kei began to create people in the underground space of the guild, a black-robed figure walked out of a hidden passage and looked at the old god sitting on the altar. Aranos, I'm back. What's the situation on the heretical side? It's still the same. Nothing has changed. Firth replied. But lately the group of heretical hunters seems to be getting more and more rampant. Maybe we should prepare in advance and find a way to unite with the people of the Kanasa clan to solve them. Read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. The people of the Kanasa clan can't pull out for the time being. Aranos shook his head. Recently, a new kind of monster has emerged on the ground, and their Kanasa clan has been sending people to search for it. In addition, the national type dependence created by Lin Kei will also cause a lot of turmoil in the next month. In order to maintain overall order, it is inevitable that the Kanasa clan will have to send a large number of men. At least for the next month. They won't be able to divide the extra combat power to help us arrest people. Lin question. Speaking of which, when I just came back, I briefly investigated. Firth seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly spoke. Aranos, it seems that the other party did not come in through the main entrance. Didn't you come in from the main entrance? That's right. I went to the city gate registration office to see it. Firth replied. In the records of the Kanasa clans, there is no record of Lin Kuei-shen entering and leaving. Later, I spent a little time questioning the people around me who had seen Lin Kuei-shen and found an amazing fact. Lin Kuei-shen and the regiment leader named Lucy next to him. The first place to appear is Loki. Dependents. Loki. Aranos narrowed his eyes. Is this all 510? Did you gather any other intelligence? Firth shook his head. Not for the time being. It wasn't long before he returned from the dungeon, and it was already efficient to be able to investigate so much. If you want more information about Lin Kuei, you must contact the Loki family. As a private soldier of Aranos, he naturally could not expose himself at will. If you really want to continue to inquire, it is best to send Loyman to contact the people of their Loki family. Don't worry, then it will scare the grass. Aranos calmly replied, the time has passed 12 o'clock. And the status of the state type dependents of the Lin Kuei clan has taken effect. Whether it is the Lin Kuei clan itself, or those small dependents who covet the Lin Kuei clan, there should be no small moves. Let's wait a little longer, soon the information about Lin Kuei's family will be sent by ourselves. Well, already coming. Looks like I'll have to hide for a while. Glancing at the entrance not far away, Firth took out the magic guide, reverse spirit veil, and the whole person entered a transparent state. Not good. God Aranos. The next second Firth hidden. A fierce shout came from the entrance. Something went wrong. There is a problem with Lin Kuei's family. Chapter 273. Needless to say, the person who can run to the underground of the Adventurers Guild in there, middle of the night is naturally the leader of the Adventurers Guild. Quietly looking at the sweaty in front of him, it looked like a fat elf who rushed all the way after receiving the news. Aranos slowly spoke, uttering a calm and solemn majestic voice. Don't worry, Lumen. Impatience can disrupt your train of thought. Calm down first, and then report back to me. Sorry. God Aranos. Wiping the sweat from the corner of his forehead, Luzman replied with a gasp. The stakes are high. I don't have time to rest. I have to tell you as soon as possible. After saying this, he took a few heavy breaths and opened his mouth to report. God Aranos, just now I received information from the people below that the Apollo clan and the Sumo clan have been breached. Lin Kuei's hand? Yes. So it is. Aranos showed a thoughtful look. That is indeed the intelligence that needs you to come and report as soon as possible. The Sumo family has LV.2. The Apollo clan had LV.3. Although the level is not high, it is also considered the backbone of Ulari. The Lin Kuei clan was just a small clan that had just been created, and it was somewhat problematic to be able to break it in such a short time. Did the regiment leader named Lucy do it? Not so. God Aranos. The other party's trump card is not that Lucy, Captain. After hearing the old god's question, Liu-man instantly realized something. The other party's private soldiers did not pass the news over before him. Quickly interrupting what Aranos was about to say next, Lumen said the information that had just been sent by the Kanasa clan urgently. That silent witch has appeared again. And he appeared as a member of the Lin Kuei clan. The Apollo clan that has just been defeated was destroyed by her magic. Aranos, silent witch. After carefully recalling and making sure that no second person in his memory had this title, Aranos fell silent. After half a ring, he slowly spoke and asked tentatively, Althea? Yes. Lugman nodded frantically, and the fat on his body trembled. Exactly, Althea. One of the culprits that sparked the great protest 7 years ago. If I'm not mistaken, the Astria clan reported that the other party jumped into the magma. God Aranos, this is exactly the second thing I will report next. Lugman took a deep breath and his expression became serious. The Astria clan that was destroyed 5 years ago has also reappeared. Full. Yes, all show up. Lugman replied. The one who broke through the Sumo clan was the Asteria clan that had become Lin Kuei-shen's vassal. In fact, even the news that the Sumo clan was breached was reported by the head of their Astria's clan, Alice Rofale. In addition to that, she brought me a third message. She found the second entrance to their dungeon. Second entrance? Yes, the artificial labyrinth, Knossos, a special area built by the great master Daedalus and his descendants thousands of years ago. Lumen said what he knew. It's a labyrinth built under Ulari and outside the dungeon. Not only does it cover the area of more than 10 floors of the dungeon, but there are even more than a plural number of entrances and exits from the ground. According to that commander of Arishit, the other party has been selling heretics all over their world through this entrance and exit all these years. As for the heretics, Lugman did not continue to explain. Although Roy and Firth have different positions, as the guild leader, he knows naturally no less. Like heretics, special monsters with human intelligence, Liu Iman still learned from the side of Aranos. God Aranos, what should I do? What to do? That's a really good question. Receiving heavy news one after another, even Aranos, who has seen strong winds and waves, is inevitably a little shocked at this moment. At the same time, he finally understood why Lugman was so excited just now. After thinking quietly for a few seconds, he replied. Don't worry about the artificial maze side for now. Since it has existed for thousands of years, there will be no problems in a short period of time. The focus now is mainly on the Lin-Kei family. The location where Lin-Kei first appeared was the Loki family. You personally go there and walk around to see if you can find out any intelligence. Yes. Are all members of the Althea and Astrians resurrected? Watching Lumen's round figure leave, Aranos looked to the side in silence for a moment. Fels, you should have heard what Leoman said. What do you think about this? He stood and watched. Although he wanted to reply like this, Firth also understood that now was not the time for jokes. Fels, who took off their reverse spirit veil on his body and reappeared in place, spoke. Aranos, is there anyone else in the nether besides me who has resurrection magic? At least I haven't heard of it. Then it should not exist. Firth made a hypothesis before continuing. I personally believe that this should be a plan of the Asteria family. They may have detected the existence of an artificial maze during that battle 5 years ago. Read violent novels. Just go to Fellow Fiction Network. In order to find out the truth, they hid by suspended animation. Although I don't know why I got involved with Linquation, this is the biggest possibility. Aranos nodded slightly. What about Althea? That monster's words. I think we've been lied to too. Firth replied. The people who said that the other party jumped into the magma back then were the Asteria clan and the Loki clan. Now that these two dependents are involved with Lin-Kei's family, I suspect that the report back then was fake. Maybe Lin-Question has been hiding in Olari since 7 years ago, preparing an unknown plan. It wasn't until now that the other party's preparations have been fully completed, and this has come to the surface. It seems that we are in agreement. Aranos' face showed a look of approval. Whether it is Althea or the Asteria family, they are all related to Lin-Kei. Now all doubts are on him, and the most important thing we need to do now is to figure out his purpose. Firth, I'll leave this to you. Am I alone? You know, you're the only one under me who can use it. Firth, I see you're embarrassing me. Chapter 274. Time passed slowly, just as Aranos and Firth began to discuss specific plans. Some of the other dependents of Ularan also received news through various channels at this moment. Huh? All members of Althea and Asteria? Loki's eyes widened in surprise. Royman, you shouldn't be joking. I also hope it's a joke. Lumen, who came specifically to deliver the news, sighed, and his expression became a little helpless. So Lord Loki, do you know something? I heard that the location where Lin-Question first appeared was the Loki family. I don't know. Loki clasped his hands behind his head and leaned directly on the sofa behind him. I don't know anything. Don't ask me. If there is really something you want to ask, you can just go directly to Lin-Kei and ask if it is. Good. Lumen, do you dare to act as to dependence? How's it going? Fingers tapped the armrest twice impatiently, and Ista, who was sitting in the main seat, asked. Frinny's favor reaction has disappeared for an hour, and there is no news from the person sent to investigate. Nope. After receiving the news, Tamuts, who immediately sent someone to investigate, shook his head. The person sent to investigate may have also had an accident and never responded. Gee. A bunch of rice. Brushing the corners of his mouth unpleasantly, Esther did not continue to wait for the 033 news, and directly got up and walked outside. Come with me, let's go to the artificial maze. Yes. Babylon Tower, the exclusive floor of Freya's family. You seem to be in a good mood. Withdrawing her gaze from the window, Freya looked at Otar standing in the doorway. Is it because you have found a new goal that you can challenge? Yes, Hort replied. Now that I'm also LV.7, I want to be with her again. You can't win. Freya calmly replied. Even at the same level, your chances of winning are still 0. You should know best, a monster like that guy. I will bring you victory. Then go and prepare. Freya's gaze looked out the window again. The other party's target was the whole of Ulari. From the beginning, we don't need to take the initiative to declare war. They will take the initiative to hit the door in 3 days at most. Whether you can win at that time depends on whether you can contain Althea. Yes. The moon set and the sun rose, and the time came to the next day in a blink of an eye. At the same time that the various forces of the guild and other Agch received the news, they were shocked and began to prepare. Lin-Kei, who had completed his daily morning exercise, walked out of the Suma clan and came to the residence of the Apollo clan alone. Yo Althea, it looks good. Looking at the grey-haired witch sitting in the living room, holding a book that he didn't know what to look at, he raised his hand and said hello. I haven't seen each other in almost 7 years. See that I don't want to come to a hug that has been reunited for a long time. I'm the only one I haven't seen in 7 years. Closing the book in her hand, Althea looked up. For you, it should be an overnight time. So don't you have a hug? Don't come. Yes, that's a shame. Reaching out and poking the other party's face, Lin-Kei smiled and spoke before Althea frowned and felt impatient. I thought you were going to miss me. But now it doesn't seem like that. If you could be quiet and not bother me all the time, I might think that way. That's a little hard. Sitting down on the sofa next to Althea, Lin-Kei reached out and took the book in her hand, and asked while flipping through it. I still like you quite a lot. Are you interested in going to other worlds with me in the future? Not interested. read violent novels, just go to Fellow Fiction Network. If you are interested, then it is decided. The smile on Lin Kei's face became stronger. When I unify this world, I will take you out to see a wider landscape. Since you have already made your decision, don't ask me. Well, the basic process still has to go down, otherwise it will be too forced. So you think it's not forced? In just a few words, Althea, who had a calm attitude, showed a little helplessness. Let's skip this topic. As long as you can help me resurrect Matrua, it doesn't matter where I go with you. But before that, I need to get rid of the black dragon first. Just by you? My 7 years have not been in vain. Skimming his eyes, Althea replied. The existing Jedi in the world, I have basically walked around in the past 7 years. As long as you help me update the favor of God, it will not be a problem to rise to LV.8. At that time, with the power you gave me, even the black dragon could not be my opponent. Holy Word 81. Butterfly. This was the ability awakened by the blood that Lin Kei left her before she left 7 years ago. The effect is simple. It is a simple body increase, which increases the full attribute by 2 adventurer levels. In terms of the Holy Word ability that has appeared so far, this ability is not the strongest, but without a doubt, it is the best for Althea. With Althea's talent, both skill and magic can be self-taught for a period of time. At that time, absolute skills, combined with at least LV.10 physical fitness, it is not empty talk to solve the black dragon alone. Solve the black dragon alone. Lin Kei's face showed a thoughtful look. It's not impossible, but the other party's dragon head has already been booked. Someone booked. It's the Sword G of the Loki clan, is Wallenstein. It's that little girl. Althea was a little impressed by Ace. Isn't she only recently promoted to LV.6? With her current ability, it's still a little too reluctant to deal with a black dragon. It's really hard to say. A subtle expression appeared on Lin Kei's face. As the source of the Holy Word, he can perceive the power of all those who awaken their Holy Word, among them, naturally including Ace, who took his blood. Guess what ability Ace awakened? Restraining dragon attribute enemies? It's not just about restraint. Lin Kei shook his head slightly. Holy Word 80, Dragon Slayer. When the effect is against enemies with dragon attributes, the physical ability and the power caused are increased by 5 adventurer levels at the same time. Althea was stunned. 5 adventurer levels? Yes, I didn't expect it. Lin Kei let out a chuckle. Don't look at Ace's LV.6. If you really meet the black dragon, that is LV.11 start. Coupled with her rare skill, Revenge Jess special attack on the dragon, the output will continue to be upgraded a notch. When facing dragon attribute enemies, even you may not be as efficient as her. I really can't compare, Althea admitted directly. All the skills are special attacks on dragons, which can be compared to the ghost. Chapter 275. The conversation between Lin Kei and Althea did not last long. Just over 10 minutes later, the women of the Astria clan walked in from outside. Lord Lin Kei, we are here. Yalixi, who was walking in the front, waved his hand. Listen to Layla say that there is a task. Today? Is it to continue attacking other dependents? That's right. Lin Kei nodded slightly. It seems that you are ready. Well, since you chose to surrender, you naturally have to be mentally prepared. Otherwise, there will be problems if you really fight. Alex smiled. This life was saved by Ryu at a great cost, and I have to cherish it. Speaking of Ryu, she doesn't seem to be with you. Glancing at the women in front of him, Lin Kei seemed to have thought of something, and asked. She went to the tavern. That side? Ryu said to say goodbye, and it would come to the night. After thinking about it, Yalixi added, Lord Lin Kei, don't worry about the task. She will definitely rush back before the action. You don't have to explain it. I don't care about such a trifle. Lin Kei raised his hand and patted Althea on the side with a smile. You geese are also acquaintances. Don't you have anything to say? Althea raised her head, calmly looked at the people of Astria's family, and continued to lower her head to read. I don't have much to say. It's a little embarrassing. Alec reached out and scratched her cheek, a subtle smile on her face. Although Althea didn't say anything, her thoughts that she felt were not human were fully expressed through her eyes. I didn't expect that one day, we would meet again in such a strange way. Well, it's better to get used to this kind of thing. Lin Kei replied casually, like that friend of your Kanise clan. I remember Adif Alma. As long as you behave better, I may resurrect her. It's a really tempting reward. Yalixi perked up. You can post tasks, Lord Lin Kei. Today's messenger of justice will bring 1,000 efforts to complete the task perfectly. You don't have to fight that hard. Lin Kei shrugged his shoulders and replied with a smile. Your mission is not difficult. The main thing is to attack the Demeter family. Demeter's family? A thoughtful look appeared on Yalixi's face. Lord Lin Kei, is this worried that there are too many people in the follow-up, and you want to solve the food problem first? Lin Kei affirmed. There is indeed this meaning. As the largest commercial family of Orally, the main direction of Demeter's family is food. Modify existing seeds, as well as those collected from dungeons, to breed food in large numbers and sell them. Thanks to the help of Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and grain, The progress of Demeter's family has always been very smooth. Today's Demeter family is not only able to solve the food problem of the entire Ulari by themselves, but even transports a large amount of grain to the outside of Ulari every year. As long as they attack the other party, Lin Kei's clan is equivalent to a huge granary. Even if the entire Ulari is beaten down afterwards, there is no need to worry about problems with food reserves. But to be honest, I actually fancy Demeter himself more than the dispensable food. Speaking of which, Lord Lin Kei does have a far more than ordinary interest in women. Recalling the blonde goddess of Demeter's family, Alex patted her chest with a confident smile on her face. Leave it to me, Lord Lin. Make sure to beat down the Demeter clan for you before dark, and bring the goddess Demeter to you. Not bad, not bad. You have a very good awareness. Lin Kei chuckled twice, and the bolters threw out a red orb. This is my blood. You will eat it later. Although I don't know what ability you can awaken, the basic physical fitness increase is enough for you to deal with enemies below LV.7. I seem to have got something wonderful all of a sudden. Raising the blood bead and looking at it twice, Yalixi temporarily put it away, and looked at Lin Kei again. Although the Demeter clan is large, its cutting-edge combat power is very average. Lord Lin Kei, you give me your blood to improve my strength. There should be other task arrangements. It's up to you to decide. Lin Kei rubbed the book again and threw it over. This is the intelligence of the major dependents of Oli. After you beat down the Demeter family, you should still have a lot of free time. At that time, you see which family is not pleasing to the eye, or it can bring more benefits to fighting. So take someone to fight together. Isn't there a hard requirement? The hard requirement is Demeter, and make the noise louder when hitting other dependents. Yo West. Then we're good to go. Alice waved his hand and led Kaguya and the others towards the outside of the mansion. See you in the evening. Lord Lin Kei. Read violent novels. Go on Fellow Fiction Network. See, Althea. Watching Yalixi and the others leave, Lin Kei smiled and looked at the grey-haired witch on their side. That is your role model. If you can cooperate actively like her, I will be very happy. I think I've been very cooperative with you. Removing the paws in front of him, Althea sighed. If you have to make my personality like her, then I think your brainwashing is faster. You said that. How could I do something like that? Lin Kei waved his hand. The original is the most interesting. If it becomes a puppet, it will be too boring. Just like your expression of being very upset and can't hit me now, I like it very much. Aren't you going to give me a task today? Althea now just wants to stay away from Lin Kei, even if it is the Freya clan and the Loki clan. I can also beat you down. The Loki clan doesn't need it. That's half a teammate. Lin Kei thought for a while. If Freya dependents, let's stay for a day for the time being. If we make a big noise today, those little dependents will automatically go to each other to huddle. When the time comes, you can save some time by hitting it in one go. That means there is nothing else. Althea got up. Then I'll go back to the room first. In the morning, don't stay at home. Grabbing Althea's skirt to stop her, Lin Kei smiled and gestured to the gate not far away. Anyway, there is nothing to do. Accompany me to the Hephaestus clan to wander around, and take them by the way. Althea. Suddenly I miss the bad old man of Zeus. At least when the other party is doing trouble, she can directly hit people.